Good morning, Raptor fans. Alexiot's here. This morning, Sunday morning, we got double duty, and we got to do this quick because these games are coming quick. The first game will be at 1 p.m. in Westchester, New York. The 905 are playing the Westchester Knicks at 1 p.m., baby. And then right after that, 3 o'clock, Toronto Raptors hosting Detroit Pistons this afternoon, right before the Super Bowl game. So we have a jam-packed afternoon of basketball, and we need to get going. And I'm sorry I'm late. I literally woke up at 9:15. But you know what? I got everything ready and we're good to go. Well, let me check in. The first thing I see in my comments right here is the Pope of Positivity. Jimmy Pope is coming in here and he has a very important message for Raptors Nation right now. This is a true Raptor freak. Jimmy Pope, a very positive Raptor fan. This is what he's saying. The amount of negative vibes I'm seeing is ridiculous. We got to ride for our team. That energy doesn't help anything. This core is here to stay, and we wouldn't have traded for Pirtle otherwise. So suck it. Yeah, it's not even the core right now. Obviously, the media is pointing out and they're saying all this stupid shit that we've made a big mess for the summer that we'll have to sort out. Y'all don't fucking know this. Once again, Masai and Bobby know what they're doing. I'm sorry that you're so worried and concerned that they're idiots and they don't know what they're doing. Idiots that think that they don't know what they're doing. But you're going to find out. It's all going to work out in the long run with what they're doing. That is why we say trust in Masai. So there's that dumpster fire of people that don't trust Masai and Bobby at the trade deadline, and there's a new one that has sprouted up yesterday from an idiot who's talking out of pocket that needs to shut the fuck up. And this is David Thorpe. He's a coach. He's not a good enough coach to have coached anywhere near the NBA. The only connection he has with the Raptors at first is that he helped Masai get his first job as a scout in the NBA. He was the one who helped him get into the NBA with the Orlando Magic. And that is really the only expertise he has. Every single person that is putting David Thorpe on blast today, stop, please, because you're putting out unnecessary noise that does not help or our team in any kind of way. In fact, I will tell you right now, people are saying, oh, well, he must know something because he knows Masai and he has a connection with Masai. Well, he may not have a connection with Masai after today because of what he's fucking saying does not help Masai. If David Thorpe is a friend to Masai, Pascal Siakam, Earl Watson, whoever in the fucking franchise, he's not acting like it because he's making their lives harder. He's making things harder for them to get things sorted out because he's adding to the noise. In fact, he may have been the stupid little motherfucker who's been spreading bullshit about OG this whole time. Because when you go and look at what he's saying, first of all, he straight up said yesterday that he wants Masai Ujiri to fire Nick Nurse. Now, listen, this is not my issue with him. He can go ahead and sprout off about Nick Nurse and wanting him fired and thinking that he thinks that, oh, we need to fire him and hire Earl Watson in his place right now is what this David Thorpe guy is saying. But I have to do some Windhursting on this motherfucker to figure out why the fuck is he saying this? And why is he saying this way? Well, there's a couple of different things that could be going on here. Listen, as I said, David Thorpe's connection to Masai Ujiri originally is that he helped him get into the NBA. And in some ways, in his stupid ass mind, now you go look at a picture of David Thorpe and you tell me if you trust that man, first of all. Some of y'all are trusting him just by his name only. You read it in a paper and you read his name and you say, oh, David Thorpe, coach, he's connected to this and this. And you're taking his word. Go look at a picture of him. He looks untrustworthy as fuck. And in the first job description you'll see next to his name is ESPN analyst. You gonna go trust anybody who's on ESPN as an analyst to talk about the Raptors? Once again, that is rule number one. You do not listen to the ESPN analysts when they're talking about Raptors, and that is who David Thorpe is. Second, if he is Masai Ujiri's friend or looking out for him, he is not connected to him anymore. Why wouldn't Masai hire him to do things for him now? Why wouldn't he have him a part of his organization or working with him if he's so great? Is what I'm saying. You'd feel like Masai takes care of people who help him in the original. And this man helped him get his foot in the door. Well, he would be overwhelmed to try and pay him back. Maybe he has tried to pay him back, but he's been a big fucking fail because he's a fucking idiot. So listen, suss this all out. Well, why does he want Nick Nurse fired? Well, is he friends with Earl Watson? Is he maybe in line to get an assistant coach job with the Toronto Raptors if we fire him because he's friends with Earl Watson? And maybe he has selfish ass reasons for why he's putting this shit out there? Now, listen, the criticism of Nick Nurse is fair. We may need to consider firing him at the end of the season. But this isn't up to David Thorpe to say, I would do it now and put it out there and put it on blast so that fucking Raptors Nation starts echoing it. Very good Raptor fans are echoing his bullshit this today, and they shouldn't be because this is causing more problems for our team, and this is not good. You guys care about this team, you will not re-put or put out what Thorpe's saying right now because it's utter bullshit. First of all, all right, first of all, this is the thing. I don't have a problem with him criticizing Nick or calling for him to be fired. In some ways, that's very fair. He went too far when he doubles down and he starts saying, well, Fred has been a problem this whole season and that OG is a problem also. Motherfucker, how are you helping your friend Masai Ujiri when you're putting two of his favorite people that he has already nodded that he wants to keep around, as saying that they're parts of the problem on this team? I think David Thorpe is overanalyzing things in a way, and he doesn't actually know what's going on. This dude's an outsider. He's not an insider. If he was an insider, he wouldn't be talking out of his ass because Masai Ujiri would have bitch slapped him already. Because first of all, this motherfucker shouldn't be talking about the Raptors in the first place. First of all, ESPN analyst, if you're a friend of Masai Ujiri or you care about the Raptors getting better, you wouldn't be talking out of your ass, David Thorpe. So you shut the fuck up right now. Because even if you think you're being helpful for your friend Masai Ujiri, which I don't think is your friend, because I think you probably have some sort of hidden grievance with him for not helping you get more jobs in the NBA since then. I mean, this all makes sense. I can Windurst the shit out of this out of the air all kinds of different ways, right in reverse at your ass, David Thorpe. You want to Windurst shit on our team? I'm going to Windurst shit about your life. That you motherfucker, you got Masai Ujiri in the NBA in the first place. And you were like, oh, Masai, here, you're with Orlando. And now you see his success over the years. You're like, Masai, hey, can I come and get a payback for helping you get in the league? David, I'm sorry, but I really don't need your expertise because it's shite. And you just helped me get a job. That's all you fucking did. This does not make you a guru. This does not make you Rico Hines. This does not make you lethal shooter. This is just some idiot ass coach who, at the highest level he's coached is high school, y'all. So if y'all want to go ahead and double down with an idiot who's tearing our team apart with his bullshit, you go ahead and champion and echo his stupid ass message and be part of the problem. Listen, if Nick Nurse needs to get fired, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be the one to go and get a torch and join that mob and go get him like y'all want to do right now. I have more respect for a Hall of Fame coach that is a fucking coach of the year that helped us win our first fucking championship than to go grab a fucking pitchfork or a torch and follow y'all as a mob to come for his head. Because even if that does happen, if you do get your way, Nick Nurse haters, I don't want to have it on my resume that I was one of the ones that pushed him out. So you go ahead. You feel proud. You want to feel proud about pushing Nick Nurse out of the coach of Toronto Raptors. You go ahead and continue to do your bullshit. And you can feel proud about that. But I won't have any remorse about what happens because I will have not had a hand in it myself. So you go ahead. You push Nick Nurse out. Be careful what you wish for. And when it happens and things will go bad because of it, I'm going to blame all y'all's asses is what I'm going to fucking do. I'm going to tell you right now. Listen, I started with the Pope of positivity, and I am being positive for my team. Y'all aren't being positive for this team when you're talking about David Thorpe this morning. No, you're not. You need to go shut up with him. That's what I'm saying right now because this man is not helpful to this team. He went 2 steps too far. Talk about Nick Nurse. Go ahead, criticize Nick Nurse. But when you start talking about our players who are under contract, players that we've invested in, players that we have nodded that we'd like to continue to have for the future. And Masai said, we like to retain our players. You need to shut the fuck up because you're not Masai's friend at that point. Honestly, you don't talk to them either. Because you know what? Listen, this is a sign that you're not involved with the Raptors. You have a loose lip And that is something we don't have. We don't have no loose lips in this organization. We don't have anybody talking out of their ass in podcasts like you are right now, David Thorpe. So that's why I really do question whether you're an insider or you know anything about this team. And even if you're echoing little things from Pascal on the side, that's fucked up because we don't need this dumpster fire. And today's dumpster fire is named David Thorpe. And I'm telling y'all, don't share his shit. Don't put him on blast because then you're just as bad as him, is what I'm going to say right now. So there you go. There's my 2 cents on the David Thorpe dumpster fire that broke out because he's headhunting for Nick Nurse all of a sudden. Well, do you have a job lined up because of that? You're very specific about what you think we should do. Fire Nick and hire Earl because I'm going to get a job on your team afterwards. I don't want to see your corny, balling, safari-looking ass, motherfucker. I don't need your ass here in Toronto. You stay down in the States on ESPN and talk out of your ass down there. Because we know who you are, David Thorpe. You're an ESPN analyst. And that's all I need to hear to know that you don't need to be listened to, is what I'm going to say right now. Yeah. I told y'all I'm fair about talking about Nick Nurse's job. We can talk about this. But Nick Nurse has already been given the seal of approval from Masai Ujiri a couple days ago in the press conference. He said, I'm very happy with the job Nick Nurse is doing. So that's another one. Winders, this one. Well, he just endorsed and said he'd like to see what he keeps doing. And now his friend, David Thorpe, Masai's friend, is coming out and saying that he should fire him. Well, you're not going with what Masai is saying or what he wants. So I think this guy's so out of pocket and full of shit, and he needs to shut the fuck up. That is a really big message I want to make clear this morning. David Thorpe, you have no credibility in my, I know y'all have come in here this year and said, David Thorpe is saying they're overplaying our starters. Nick's running them into the ground, and he's already had a chip on his shoulder against Nick Nurse for some reason, putting shit like that out. I mean, he's also said apparently that he thinks Nick is like a Popovich. So he said nice things about him, but now all of a sudden he's turning on him and saying all this shit. Listen, once again, you cannot go by what happened on Friday night to say that you need to fire Nick Nurse. There's one thing that we're all forgetting about with the end of the game. Sure, maybe he could have had a better game plan, maybe better direction off the bench. Also, maybe he could have rotated guys better in the fourth quarter and we would have had a better outcome. Sure, he fucked up. He didn't coach well in that game. But ultimately, who fucking wins the game is the players. And he can't control whether they're going to do what they're going to do on the court. He'd love for them to execute the game plan and get the win. But ultimately, they're the bodies in kinetic motion on the court that makes it happen. So you guys go ahead and headhunter Nick Nurse. When the team did not step up and win the game, it wasn't necessarily totally Nick's fault. Maybe he could have guided them and led them better, but these motherfuckers could have played harder too. That's the truth on Friday night against the Jazz. The Raptors could have played harder. And well, you know what, Raptors, you can go ahead and look at what's being talked about around Raptors Nation right now and say, you know what, if you care about having your coach, you better fucking win because he's in trouble. The headhunters are coming for him. They're getting them pitchforks and them torches, and they're coming for him. And I ain't joining that angry mob. Fuck y'all for wanting to run this man out of town. He is a great man for our franchise in the history, and I will not be on that side of things to run him out of town like y'all are doing. How can you sleep with yourselves trying to run out of town our coach? And it's how fitting we're playing the other coach of the year in our franchise other than Sam Mitchell, Dwayne Casey. That's right. Detroit Pistons are in town today, and I got all the info on that, but I really want to make sure I say enough on what I have to say about this Nick Nurse thing with David Thorpe. I'm telling you, there's so many different ways I can break this down and show you just how full of shit he is. Just with very simple logic. Seriously, is this a Masai person? Loose lips do not get near Masai. That you don't work near Masai or know what Masai is saying if you have loose lips. So yeah, just shut the fuck up. And it's not necessary. In fact, I think this is the expert that Jake from State Farm got his OG information from last summer. I'm serious. I think that a lot of this OG bullshit in the last year has emanated from David Thorpe and his dumbass out of pocket talking. And, how many times do we need to go to OG and ask him, well, are you unhappy in Toronto? He's doubling down on saying that OG's unhappy in Toronto. I still do not believe that shit. that this motherfucker comes out there and works just as hard. Some motherfuckers are trying to say today that the Raptors gave up on the Nick Nurse, don't play for him anymore. Now, that's not true either, because that motherfucker, you think anybody in the NBA wants to work as hard as Nick Nurse makes them work? The fact that they go out there and still do the effort and do the crazy things that he asked them to shows that he's still very much bought into, and that these guys believe in their coach. There's been no signals that this team has given up on Nick Nurse, or that they're fighting, or they have a problem. He is their coach. They listen to him. They get guidance. And, maybe sometimes he's fiery. They're losing a lot lately. So maybe you'll see him interacting with people on the bench, and it's a little intense. Well, trust me, it's for the best of the team, and the players have no problem with that. And then other jackasses are trying to link a behavior in Nate Bjorkgren as a coach for the Indiana Pacers with a behavior with Nick Nurse being the same kind of hard to work with, bombastic, demanding person like Nate Bjorkgren is. That they share it because they're birds of a feather. What the fuck is this Winders extrapolating like this shit? Nick Nurse has been a very sound, good coach for a few years right now. I do not get this. Y'all want to fucking headhunt Nick Nurse? You go ahead, and be careful what you wish for. I'm going to be pissed off if he gets run out of here by your fucking mob. So y'all just seriously shut the fuck up. If you're echoing anything, David Thorpe, today, it is not worth it. It is hot air, and you're not causing anything but problems for our team right now. Now you have more people touting this Fred bullshit about him being selfish. The Fred haters have more fuel. The people that think OG's not happy here and then he wants to get traded have more fuel. The people that want to fire Nick Nurse have more fuel from this guy. None of it's good, and Masai hates it all, and he probably hates David Thorpe this morning. So even if he was friends with Masai at some point, he probably thinks he's an idiot, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing, David? Please stop. Please, is what Masai is saying today. So yeah, let's get some perspective on this. Let's think about this in a realistic way and understand this may be a lot of what this is this dude wants Earl Watson as a coach because he may be trying to get a job. Oh my gosh, this fucking shit. I hate this shit so much. Mike sent salute real ones, Project Truth always. Mike, I just dropped some major Project Truth in the first 15 minutes of this live stream today. That is some major Project Truth. And if y'all don't want to listen to my truth and hear what I'm saying, maybe you think I'm full of shit and that you believe David Thorpe over me, you go ahead. You go ahead and believe David Thorpe over me. And then you fine, be a toxic Raptor person. I'm not even calling you a fan anymore. You go ahead and believe these ugly narratives that do not help or support our team. You go ahead and believe his bullshit. Like I said, if he was involved in this organization, he wouldn't be talking because he knows the rules. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. He needs to shut the fuck up. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Jay Condon saying, what's up, brother? Let's go Raptors. Let's get back on it today. Yeah, you go, Jay Condon. Good to see your name in the chat this morning. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. I didn't tune in yesterday. I didn't want any negative talk. I love the Jakob trade. I'm trying to ignore the armchair front office executives. Looking forward to moving up. Cool Cat, I think you'd be fine with how we did things yesterday. In fact, a lot of people described the stream yesterday as a breath of fresh air in the very, very toxic, nauseous gas of the fan nation right now and what they're saying. That some people needed my stream yesterday just because of how the game went on Friday. I did treat it very, very fairly. And I was very much supporting our guys also. So you might be pleasantly surprised. I know there's no reason to go back and watch it right now. But no, if you ever have this inclination in the future and you're worried about this, the negativity, this place is a safe space. And even if you feel like we're being too negative on this channel, you can always be that voice to help us get back in line from your side of things too. So I appreciate and love you, Cool Cat, and do not worry. Yeah, we got your back. And even Greg was sending me comments late last night telling me, man, thank you, because I am just sick and tired of the bullshit I'm hearing right now. Oh my gosh. This is the thing. There's something really weird happening with the Raptors right now. It really is like a movie plot line. That we're the hero, we're the protagonist, and we are getting our ass beat right now. We are literally Rocky in that ring, getting the shit kicked out of him, and we're laying on the ground, and Adrian's yelling, "Rocky, get up!" That is literally where we're at right now. Now, some of these motherfuckers think that because we're down, they can kick us, and if they kick us some more, we might not get up. And this is what their strategy is. They see how close we are to being so fucked up that we need to like completely destroy everything. In fact, a lot of these people that are negative are saying the Raptors just need to destroy their core. It's useless. The Raptors just think, why are you saying this? Why are they saying that? Why do you think Celtics Nation saying this? Why do you think Sixers Nation saying this? Because they know we're close and we're dangerous and we're annoying and they want to stop worrying about us. Just like the Nets sent Kyrie and KD out west, we've stopped worrying about the Nets to a certain degree. Well, they want to worry less about the Raptors. So we're already down, and they know we can figure things out and get it back going, just like Masai knows, just like Nick knows, just like I know. But a lot of Raptors fans don't know. They're trying to kick the shit out of us before we get up. Yeah, that's what's happening. The people that hate the Raptors are jumping on us more and more right now, and because they are tricking Raptors fans to get on their side because things are so bad right now. If y'all couldn't see this mechanism and understand this, then that's what I'm saying. Y'all are part of the problem too. So don't fall for it. Stick with our guys. Stay in this foxhole. Stick like the team did and not turn on them. They didn't turn on each other. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the bullshit. They did not turn on each other. They did not turn on their coach. Their GM and Masai Ujiri did not turn on them either. They doubled down on them and said, we believe in you. We basically said, we're betting on ourselves, just like Fred says, but our whole team and everybody all at once. And that's a very unified thing, y'all. We wouldn't do this. Like, seriously, you think Masai's stupid? If there were problems with players on the team, he would fix them, first of all. And if there were problems, like there's one thing that was said yesterday that made me kind of question a second. Adrian Griffin had the press conference yesterday, and I know why. Because Nick don't need to be talking to stupid ass questions right now because they're going to be real stupid. He needs to concentrate on his job and get us ready to win the game today. That's what he needs to do. He sends Griffin out there to do the interview yesterday. And Griffin says this at one point. He says, you know, the players don't have to do things off the court and get along off the court, but they do have to get on the court. When he said that, that kind of bugged me a little bit. And that was a little bit of a signal that there may be these kind of problems. But this is just general truth to the NBA. The players on the teams are sometimes different age brackets. They don't all have the same interests. Some are in the family, some are single and can do whatever the fuck they want. You know, that's what I'm saying. So listen, just because guys don't hang out outside the game or do things like socially, like maybe there's a social group between the young guys with Scotty and some of the young guys, Gary and Precious, and maybe there's a social group with Pascal and Jakob and Fred and OG. I don't know. I don't want to speculate any further than Adrian Griffin said the guys don't have to be friends off the court. It's not that he's saying they're not friends. It's just saying they don't have to be hanging out and doing friend stuff like Jakob and Pascal would. But they have to be cool on the court. And that's the issue. That's the issue. We need the guys to be very cool on the court and working off of each other as much as possible. So yeah, it's a really weird situation right now. It's really the darkest before the dawn right now. I really do feel this is one of the darkest areas just because of losing so badly at the end of the game in that way. Everybody really wants to say, yeah, we suck. But I still don't believe it. I don't buy it. Jakob did not have a practice with us, and we have not established him in this team to the point where I know we can fully say that this season sucks and we're going to be horrible. I'm sorry. Utah just caught us on really good timing this season and kicked our ass both games. So, all right, let's see. Top and Top saying, good morning, Lex. I think the concern is when you lose Kawhi, you understand he wanted to play at home. But when you lose Ibaka, Green, and Gasol for no assets, there's a major concern. Once again, I'm going to echo exactly what Masai said. What do you mean lose them for nothing? What do you mean? It doesn't mean jack shit in the NBA. This has happened throughout the history of the NBA. Players are free agents. They go different places. You cannot control people like they're slaves. If people want to go and take money and go home, they want to go other places. I've already explained to you, Top of Top, why we let Gasol and Ibaka walk. If you do not understand the reasons why that happened still, I don't know how to explain it to you further. He was trying to make cap space so he could get Giannis. It didn't work. Giannis was not available, so it wasn't a good move in hindsight because we lost our centers. But he did it with all intentions of trying to get Antetokounmpo. So until you realize the reason why Mark and Serge we're not on the team anymore is because of Giannis, I cannot tell you it more and more again, over and over again, until you actually listen to me. So that's once again, you don't understand why they left. then I cannot explain it any clearer than what I just said. Masai valued getting Giannis, and he let them go because he couldn't pay them and get Giannis. He wanted the chance to get him. Well, he didn't have the shot to get him, and that's why it looks so bad to you. Okay, that's the only reason why. And I'm glad he took that gamble. If he could have gotten Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Raptors jersey, you would be very happy with it, and you'd be saying he's the GM of the year for like a decade. So that's what I'm saying, man. Listen, he whiffed, but he tried and he gave it a good shot. And that's what I'll say on that. So, all right, no more on this top and top. And seriously, if we're going to do this like every day from now on, I don't want to fight with you every day. I don't want to be like having to shine lights when you're shining so much negativity in here. Because seriously, that's what I'm going to start painting you with, is being a negative person. And I don't want to do that because I know you've been here a long time and you're a valuable member of the Raptor Free community. Jimmy Pub saying these people just don't want us to win. There's no genuine want. They were shitting on our team even when we were winning. They just got to go to a new team straight fresh. Part of it is that some of these fans are casual and they don't understand basketball, and they very much parrot and mimic and listen to the mainstream media and just listen to that. And they don't really have any basis of watching for themselves and seeing with their own two eyes. That's part of the problem. The second problem is what I said just earlier, is that other nations and people that hate the Raptors really want to fuck us up worse. And they're putting a lot of shit out to make it even more toxic and muddled. And there's dumb fans that are sheep that are following for it, and they are pushing it further within our fan nation. They don't have to do this. Y'all need to suss this out. Like, seriously, if you're a fan of the Raptors, think about what you're putting out there information wise and say, well, does this help the team? Is this helpful for the team in the future? Or is this really bad, toxic shit that shouldn't be put on blast? That's what I'm saying. I love y'all, Raptors fans, but you're not a fan if you're pushing David Thorpe this morning. I'm sorry. That's just the damn truth. Because, first of all, there's no substance to what he's saying, and you're just pushing lies. I think you're pushing a lot of lies. Seriously. I know that the OG shit is lies, and I'm pretty sure the Masai connection cannot be used as a verifiable reason to believe this guy. Because honestly, Masai's probably pissed at him and probably maybe saying, David Thorpe, you're dead to me. I don't care if you gave me my big break. You're fucking with my job right now, and you're making my life harder right now. So shut the fuck up, and I don't want to answer your calls anymore because you're fucking flake on ESPN at this point. See, listen, I can ruin his credibility real quick. Trust me. Everybody who thinks David Thorpe has credibility, yeah, no, he doesn't. He's gotten to no level of coaching except for high school. He hasn't even coached college, y'all. So, yeah, come on, y'all. You gonna believe this motherfucker? And go seriously look at a picture of him. He looks like fucking Alton Brown's like weird cousin from the weird side of the family is what he looks like to me. Seriously, he looks like Alton Brown's weird cousin from the weird side of Alton Brown's family. And we already know Alton Brown's a weirdo, right? Well, go look at David Thorpe. You can see he looks like Alton Brown's weird cousin. Seriously. Logical saying, just like I was on the salary cap issue before and explained with a couple of small moves, we could keep everyone through the summer. Like I said, in the summer, the issue is 2024 summer, not this summer. Yeah, and there's a whole lot of time to make maneuvers and change things and get things right. Listen, they don't know how to GM like Bobby Webster. Bobby Webster knows how to GM. Y'all don't know what the fuck he's doing. And I'm glad, because in some ways, when he mystifies everybody, well, we are fucking badasses because they don't know what we're doing. Honestly, I think Mike's exactly right. And the positive Raptor fans can understand this. It's just some people are money grubbers or tight in their own life. They're like, oh, I don't want to spend all this money on Fred and Gary and Jakob this summer, though. Gosh darn it, times are tough. Inflation. Fuck you. It's Larry Tannenbaum's money. It ain't your money, so don't give a shit about it. Just let him fucking spend his money. Just let him spend his money this summer if he wants to spend his money on making his team better and winning Larry O'Brien's and making more money later. That's smart businessman. Let the man have his business plan to spend money to make money, y'all. Yeah, I'm so happy that you care so much about Larry Tannenbaum's life and his money. Oh, that you're so worried that he's going to have to spend so much money this summer. Oh my gosh. Ooh, you're so bleeding heart for such a multi-millionaire motherfucker that helped build this city with concrete, that has so much money. He literally is Starship. He built this city. this city out of concrete. That's right. That's Larry Tannenbaum. I know that. That's what his family fortune was built on, the concrete that was laid, the foundation of the city of Toronto. That man literally built this city. I'm not worried about him spending his money. He's got that money and he's going to spend it. Oh, you're so kind to worry about him in these tough economic times. Oh, such commendable Raptor fans worried about the money of Larry Tannenbaum and spending so much money this summer. Oh my gosh. Oh. I'm on fire today. I'm fired up because I'm pissed off at David Thorpe this morning. All right, let's see. Fun guy saying, I understand that maybe Terrence Ross wanted to go to a contender, but I'm so pissed we didn't get him back in Toronto. I don't think that was ever in the cards. Honestly, it feels good to reunite with Yak. It would have been fun to get Ibaka. It would have maybe been cool to get Denny Green. But, listen, Terrence is in a different weird place in his career. It's not much time left. And in some ways, he's chasing that chip. We're not the best situation for him to get that sooner. And I think going to Phoenix and joining Kevin Durant is a great move for him. In fact, I saw that move and I smiled. I was like, you go, Terrence Ross. It's never too late. You go and get that chip possibly. But unfortunately, until they move your starting point guard, you're not going to win jack shit in Phoenix. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. It's underlying and known that Chris Paul is not allowed to win the NBA championship. So, yeah, Terrence was deciding between Dallas, it's crazy the list that was on the short list for him. And he was very much linked to a couple teams yesterday before he did finally sign with Phoenix. And you know what Phoenix did? They came to him and said, you want to play with Kevin Durant? And Terrence Ross thought about this for a second. He's like, yeah, I do. And then that's why he chose Phoenix, is because of Kevin. So I'm excited about this new version of the Suns because I love Terrence Ross. And I also really do have a big warm spot for Kevin Durant in some ways. So I'm excited to see this group of guys. It was never in the cards for him to come here. And getting Joe W back is a big signal of that. There's something about Joe W that I keep forgetting to talk about on this channel. He's been a teammate with most of our team. He was a teammate with Juancho. He was a teammate with that. And he was a teammate with Jakob. In fact, getting Joe W to come back yesterday for the rest of the season and for next year in a non-guaranteed contract, this is similar to something like what Justin's been on in the recent past, that, this is a nod to Jakob saying, we want to get you another person that because you played with him in San Antonio. So it makes him feel a little bit more ensconced in the fabric of the Raptors team to have Joe Wieskamp there also. So I'm really excited about having Joe back. And I really do hope we get to use him and we get some goodness from his three-point shooting. Yeah, it's awesome. Nameless is saying Nick Nurse will not be fired. That is a joke unto itself. There are people really sharpening their knives, and they are closer than ever because there's a lot of Raptor fans that are starting to side with them because of this idiot that I'm talking about, Alton Brown's fucked up brother. Yeah, or cousin, or whatever the fuck he is. Alton Brown's fucked up cousin is spreading the lies this morning, and people are carrying them like they want to. Like, why do you want this? Seriously, be careful what you want. And I am not grabbing a pitchfork with y'all's angry mob. I'm sorry. I do not want to be a part of this. I was upset when we got rid of Casey. I was upset when we got rid of DeMar. I don't want to be a part of pushing people out of our city because we're critical of them and saying bad things about them. If it is going to happen, so be it. They will analyze him on their own, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, and they will make the decision when and where they want to. And that they want to continue to double down on him and say, he's our guy and we're very happy with him. I don't understand why y'all are getting so upset that they won't fire him. It's the same thing as these Fred haters. You're going to be upset for a while. I'm sorry, y'all. You're going to be upset because Fred's still there. You're going to see Fred. They were sharpening their knives coming after Fred because of David Thorpe's report also. See, Fred is selfish, and he is a part of the problem. God damn it. We need to get rid of Fred. We won't go anywhere until we get rid of Fred. He's a defensive liability. All the stupid ass shit y'all are fucking saying, and now OG's stupid ass shit. You managed to flare up a couple dumpster fires all at once, David Thorpe. And that's why you're like my enemy number one this morning. And you are like, seriously, who the fuck are you? You're an ESPN analyst? I'm sorry. That's a non-starter right there. I do not listen to you once you say ESPN analyst. I mean, you're in the likes of Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and fucking Jacoby and Jalen. This is all bullshit artists that get paid to talk out of their ass on TV. So that's what I'm saying. Do not believe David Thorpe this morning. He is a fucking idiot, and he's not a friend of Masai Ujiri's for putting this shit out like this. You think Masai Ujiri's happy with David Thorpe this morning? I don't think he is. I think he's gonna not say, he's like, listen, I don't have anything to do with this cornball. I maybe knew him 20 years ago when he helped me get my first job, but I ain't got nothing to do with him since. And if he's working with Pascal, he's doing this with this, I don't know. He's just talking out of his ass. I don't give a shit. He shouldn't be around the Raptors organization because he's proven he's loose lips. And we had that rule on our team: loose lips sink ships. You get the fuck out of here. So I know he doesn't work for us because he's got those lips. That's what I'm saying. He don't work for us. Nope. He wouldn't be saying shit if he's Masai's inner circle and he had anything to do with this team. He would not be talking. Y'all know that's the way we do things here. I mean, I just wonders that, well, he can't know what he's talking about because Masai don't tell nobody. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going. G saying Nurse left the country for personal reasons. See, we don't even know what's going on. That was why he wasn't at the press conference, and he's not going to be coaching today, y'all. There will be a replacement coach, and it probably will be Adrian Griffin coaching the Raptors today against the Pistons. In fact, we got to get going. This Raptors 905 game is at 1 o'clock. So let's do a little ref report for the G League game today. Raptors 905 are in Westchester to play the Westchester Knicks. It's Isaac Barnett is our crew chief. Caitlin Bunger is our referee, and Nate Anderson is our umpire. Now, the thing about the 905 is, listen, they sent Koloko to Westchester. He is going to be a 905 guy for the rest of the season. And hopefully he plays all of their games, but still plays for the Raptors. Chances when the schedules allow for him to travel and be on both teams at the same time. This is good. And this is Jakob coming and allowing the Raptors to have the freedom to put Koloko on the development team and let him get a lot more reps and time. This is so good. We should have been doing this with him the whole 905 season, honestly, y'all. Some of y'all, I know Chris's Sports Corner recently said, I don't understand why Koloko's not getting a play still and all stuff. Well, he's a rookie. He's a project. He's going to take time. Sure, he's looked good. Sure, he's done some very good things in the times that he's played. But he does much more belong on 905 in his rookie season. He just does. And the fact that him and Jeff Doughton Jr., Ron Harper Jr. are there, I'm pretty sure Delano's with the main squad, though. And that's the difference. You know, Delano Band's a good person for Koloko to see his path to a degree in some ways. And now I know this year's been a little troubling for Delano in his development. So hopefully Koloko will have a better second year in this. But his first year is a very similar first year to Koloko's first year. And that's kind of like Delano could very much help him. Now, see, Delano didn't have to go to the 905 team. I don't think he's with them. He may be. I'm not sure. I got to check that for sure. But for some reason, I think that Delano's actually with the Raptors and not with the 905. But he may have been signed too. I didn't think I saw him on the list, though. So that should be pretty interesting. But yeah, Raptors 905, 1 o'clock, Westchester Knicks. Let's beat their ass. We have lost 2 games to the main Celtics on the 905 level recently, and we need to fix that and get our record back in the right direction from being 8-7 right now. That's not good enough. We got to get further away from that 500 level and get the more wins and get higher in our standings in the G League. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Let's see. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne again. Wayne's been like, this week is like Wayne's rookie week, and he is killing it this week. Honestly, he's like Raptor Freak Rookie of the Week. Let's see. Wayne is saying that sorry, it jumped. It always does this right when I'm about to come and read it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it jumps. Glad that Joe Weiskamp is back. We support our players, don't care about their compensation. However, when they play selfish and cause us to lose winnable games, we have a problem with that. Go Raptors. This is a great delineation. I think this is very much how I look at it too. And that, look, I support our players because I don't want to stab them in the back. I don't want to be like snarky and fun, calling Fred a midget. Like some people are so quick to do that. That's very disrespectful and fucked up. And that tells me right away, if you use that word with Fred, I know you're not a Raptor fan. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you say you love the rest of the team and you hate him. You do not say stuff like that about our captain. I'm sorry. That's just not how it is. Now, what he's saying is, and forget about the compensation, forget about Larry Tannenbaum, open up the purse strings and paying people this summer. He just doesn't want people on the court to be apparently playing selfish. And we've seen that from time to time this season. Masai admitted it this past week. And this is true. And this is something we can criticize about. We want them to be more unselfish in sharing the ball. I'm totally with this. And I agree. This does hurt us in crunch time when we're trying to take the ball home. When we can't fucking share the ball and get easier shots off of each other, that's a problem. Stop getting so one-sided into ISO, guys, and really, really look for that two-man action at least. You guys can work really well off each other. In fact, I'm seeing cool synergies between Scotty and Precious right now. I'm really excited about the reunited, acquiring of the synergies between Pirtle and Pascal and Fred. We already saw Pascal in some ways with Jakob around is going to have an easier time and maybe more inclined to not do as much ISO ball because he has such a great big to work off of to get good shots. There was a lot of history with them early on in their careers where they did really work off each other really well. And it's going to help Siakam hopefully get his field goal percentage up. And maybe even this could be part of how we work things out for an end of game situation. Well, let's get Pascal to have the ball in the hands, but he's using Jakob as this other guy to play off of to get the open shot because he's a big wide body. He could screen around him. They can do a little pass, give go, any of that kind of stuff. And Siakam will get a better shot. In fact, his shooting percentage is going to get better right now just because he got way better looks on Friday night. And we saw that he got more space. They asked Gary in the interview yesterday at the press conference, at practice interview, with Jakob out there, he's such a big body. He's like, do you feel like you got more space? And he's like, yes, I really like playing with him. It's like running around him. You're amazed at how open you are. So I'm saying, Gary Trent's saying this yesterday, that you go around a screen on Jakob Poeltl, you're way more open than, some of the guys we've had recently. So this is all really good. And it's just too early to see the results of it completely yet because the cohesion of Jakob coming back has not fully been settled. And that's going to see more and more today. In fact, I have a prediction that today we're going to see Jakob fit even more seamlessly with everybody. And we're going to see a lot of benefits already of kind of like what I'm talking about right now, specifically with Pascal and Jakob. You watch how they work off each other and see if Siakam's getting much better shots because of it. So we can combine that, what I just said, in the last couple minutes of the game. I think this solves the problem we're talking about here, Wayne, is that you can play him. I think that Siakam could be a clutch guy if he plays off Jakob in the last couple minutes of the game. Now, once again, we got to do offensive, defensive substitutions because we don't want to hack a shack on Jakob Poeltl on the other end in the end of the game because he's going to miss those free throws. So you better have Gary ready to sub Jakob back and forth at the end of the game, Nick Nurse. That's a really sound strategy. Monique is here. Good to see Raptors superfan Monique, a real one, is not participating in David Thorpe pushing forward stuff bullshit. She sees it, she smells it out, and she knows that is a big stinking turd of misinformation. And Monique ain't even going to start to touch it. That's right. Good morning, everyone. Happy game. And let's piss off Casey. I don't know if that's one of the objectives we should have. I love Dwayne Casey, honestly. When you have him as your coach for 8 years, you really get to know him. You can't hate the man. I thought he got a raw deal. In fact, in some ways, when he would come back and beat our ass, I was always like, we deserve this. In some ways, I would root for Casey to beat our ass in some ways on the down low because in some ways, I wanted him to get some get back just for how raw we did him. So I love Casey. I have a lot of respect for him, but we do need to beat their ass today. The injury report for Detroit is very, very interesting. Nerlens Noel is already out. It's personal. I don't know what it is with all these personal people missing right now. Nick Nurse, Nerlens Noel, the NN names. James Wiseman was traded to the Pistons during this trade deadline, but he is questionable for today's game. I think it has to do with the trade going through. Now, that could mean that James Wiseman is playing today, but this game's early in the day. Who knows how quick the NBA head office runs through things? And also, is this trade held up by Gary Payton II failing his physical? Is this a part of that whole trade? And is that why James Wiseman may be held up from joining the Detroit Pistons right now? Because Gary Payton failed his physical and he fucked up a 4-team trade. The NBA, so much drama. Marvin Bagley III underwent surgery to repair a fracture in his third and fourth metacarpals on his right hand on Thursday. I guess this was the beginning of January, and he will be reevaluated 6 weeks. 6 weeks are not up, so no Marvin Bagley Jr. today, and Cade Cunningham, of course, has been out for pretty much the whole entire season. So who is on the Pistons at this point? Well, let's take a check after the trade deadline. They're starting Killian Hayes, who was involved in that crazy shoving incident with Mo Wagner earlier this season. Jaden Ivey, the rookie, is their starting shooting guard. Bojan Bogdanovic has been playing quite well for them recently. I think they won their last game, a double overtime win over the Spurs. Now they're still losing a lot of games. They're like 4-12 in their last 16 games. The Pistons, they're definitely a bottom feeder, and we do need to kick them around today and kick their ass. Beef Stew is back from his injury from earlier in the season, so he will be in the lineup. Jalen Duren, their rookie, has been really coming on strong recently. We need to watch out for him. Then, of course, Canada's own number 6, Corey Joseph, will be providing veteran leadership for the Detroit Pistons today. Alec Burks is a great scorer off the bench. We need to watch out for him. Hamidou Diallo is an athlete and very much up and down the court quickly. He is an interesting player. Isaiah Livers will be available for tonight, and Rodney Magruder. So that's basically the Pistons team. And they're a little bit young and dangerous in some ways, but we should be able to beat their ass, and we need to beat their ass so bad right now. We need this win so bad. I don't care how ugly it is. We just got to get a W today, no matter what. If we don't get a W today, then everything that's happening right now with the negativity is just going to intensify. So just cut the noise out, boys, and just do this so that everybody will shut the fuck up. Oh my gosh, please shut the fuck up, Raptors Nation, and just let them try and work this out and fix things before the end of the season. Masai saying he's going to give him the rest of the season. Please, can you do the same? Oh my gosh. Our Raptor injuries are pretty much what we've heard for a while. Otto Porter's out, and OG is still out today. He hasn't participated in light on-court work, but he is not cleared for contact still. This wrist is very interesting. We're going to have to find out more about this wrist, and hopefully he'll be back soon enough. Nacho the Nacho is here in our comments this morning. Suns are going to have the best offense in the league. The defense needs to look good, though. Nurse needs to use a deeper rotation. End of the season, have a talk about the job. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to fire him in the middle of the season, y'all. As much as some of y'all really hate him and they want to get him out as soon as possible, Nick Nurse is not going to get fired. If he does get fired, it will be this summer. I still don't think he's going to get fired because, once again, as much as everybody thinks David Thorpe has a strong connection to Masai Ujiri, he doesn't have as strong a connection as Nick Nurse does. I said this on this channel a couple times in the last couple months that Masai Ujiri picked and groomed Nick Nurse to be his head coach in the NBA at a point when he could hire a head coach. And that was the first opportunity, was when he fired Casey. He brought Nick, and he had him around the whole time. That he's known Nick Nurse from around the basketball world and globally, and he's always thought he's a genius. He's always thought he's one of the best basketball coaches in the world. And that he was trying to line things up, just like lining up Giannis Antetokounmpo to this team or Precious Achiuwa. He's trying to line things up so that he would get him as his head coach of the team that he runs. Well, why the fuck would he spend a decade getting it all orchestrated to get Nick in that spot like he did, and even being patient on Casey and allowing Casey success for over and over again until he said, all right, this is it. Look at how many times he gave Casey a chance in his years, and he wasn't even a coach that he chose. He was a coach he inherited from Colangelo, and he gave Casey a lot of fucking chances. So let's count how many chances he gave Casey and think, all right, this is somebody you actually really wanted and has around. I think he's going to give him even more. So some of y'all that are coming after Nick Nurse this morning, yeah, don't hold your breath. It's going to be very much like the Fred haters. You're going to be disappointed because he's not going anywhere. And it's all been signaled that way last week by Masai in his press conference. So, yeah, if anything, it'll all get done at the proper time, which is the offseason. Do you think they want to cause more chaos for the team right in the middle of the season? No. And it's not like they could hire a new coach right now and they could come in and establish things and have any kind of real judgment of what they're doing, because it's too late in the season and there's not anything they could do to probably establish anything or get anything going that quickly. Trust me. They may be saying, oh, if that's what Thorpe's trying to say. Oh, if they fire Nick Nurse today and they put Earl Watson in that spot right now, that doesn't mean they're going to be any better. Trust me. Just because he said that doesn't mean it'll be any better. So yeah, it's all so dumb. And like they said, they're gonna wait till the offseason. They're gonna wait on everything till the offseason. They're gonna assess till the end of the season now, see if we do anything in the playoffs, and then they'll make some decisions then. So everybody who wants to make decisions now, y'all need to shut up because you're not Masai, and he's already said he's waiting till the offseason. So, all right, let's keep going. Space Cadet saying, I knew it was BS. The moment he said that we should promote Earl Watson to get Fred and OG in line, like, what the fuck? I know, it's so stupid. It is so, so stupid. I'm glad that you're listening to me, Space Cadet, because seriously, what is the purpose of what he's doing? He just wanted more clicks on his podcast. He knows that Raptors Nation will get in a tizzy and swarm up like Jake from State Farm found out last summer, and that he wants clicks. He wants traffic. This is a controversial thing to say, and a whole bunch of Raptors Nation going to go look at it today. So he's getting what he wants. That is a lot of what this is, probably, y'all, just so you know. Fun guy saying, come on, Lex, do you really think Masai is happy with a coach that had you in lottery Tampa season and was 8 games under 500 before trade deadline? Masai is just being a good president. He's not happy. All right, well, I want to suss this all out. Masai is not happy. He's not happy because the team's losing. They're not performing. But he did say he's happy with Nick Nurse. He's happy with the job he's doing. He believes in him, that he's doing what he can to help us win. And that's a signal saying he's endorsed him and he's still going forward with him. And that's what I'm going to take Masai by his word. If y'all don't want to take Masai by his word, then y'all go ahead and go in other areas and talk about, oh, I'm thinking about this because of David Thorpe or this. I'm going to listen to Masai. I'm going to listen straight from the horse's mouth, because a lot of what we've been doing has been said by him and y'all just ain't been listening. So once again, I'm going to say what Masai said. He believes in Nick Nurse. He confirmed that he still believes in him. He's doubling down on him. So that's it right there. He's not unhappy with Nick. He'd like him to get better results. Yes, obviously. And that's what he's not happy about. I think a lot of people are misconstruing emotion, and they think when people are unhappy, they're mad at someone. Well, maybe they're mad at the situation. It doesn't have to do with people. Maybe they're just mad in the whole thing of what's happening. And as these guys have been saying, players, coaches, front office, they're all to blame for how bad we've done. And everybody has their own little share of the pie. And maybe somebody's pie is a little bit bigger than others. Like Joe Wieskamp probably doesn't have a very big share of the pie. But I'm saying there's no like scapegoat. There's no one person that you can blame for the Raptors right now. Sure, maybe you can say a little bit it's Bobby's fault, a little bit Masai's fault, a little bit Nick's fault, a little bit Fred's fault, a little bit of Scotty's fault, a little bit of Pascal's fault. Sure, it's a little bit of everybody's fault. But scapegoating or coming after a singular person is not good. And that's part of our strength and tenacity. And you know what? Don't even bring up Tampa, because Tampa was a success and we did a badass thing. And, you know, listen, there's nothing. Listen, they weathered that storm. If anything, Nick Nurse is saint for going through all the hell and different ups and downs of being the Raptors coach in his tenure. That there's a lot of crazy shit that he had to deal with as a coach that most people have not had to ever deal with in their whole entire coaching career, like a relocation. So, I mean, I want y'all to have a perspective on this. Seriously, have a perspective on this. And yeah, I think that he said it. I'm going to believe him. Masai said he's happy with Nick Nurse. I go watch the press conference. That's what we should believe, is the own words coming out of Masai Ujiri's mouth. Is that's what you think he's a liar? You think he just gets up there and says, fuck Brooklyn, he's a liar? No, he is telling us when he says, I believe in Nick Nurse. I like the job he's been doing, and I think he'll figure it out. That means he trusts him to like get the smarts and figure this all out to turn things around. And that's a lot different message than what David Thorpe's saying, or like your take on this, that he's mad at Nick Nurse. He's not. He understands. He's working very closely with them, and he knows just how hard he's working to try and get us right. Top saying logical, but why would you want to cap gymnastics to keep everyone? What have they done to deserve that? You know, everybody's saying they don't understand. Why would you keep a mid-core and invest it? Y'all are too late to the program with basketball. This is how it works, y'all. You get it out of your young players. You invest in them. And we have all the signs. Like, they do all these metrics. They keep track of all the shit on all of them as individuals, and like things that they get to and do, and their like progress and development. And this is the thing. They have metrics and a thing that's going to tell them expected wins from growth within the players going up. And specifically, like I've said over and over again, Scotty and Precious's growth as players will make us make leaps like we got a big free agent acquisition. That's the thing, bro. You got to understand, Top. It's not about getting someone to save us. The guys who are going to save us are on this team already, and they're just going to get more capable. They're going to get more sound. They're going to get more skilled. They're going to get more savvy. They're going to get more vet. And all of that stuff is going to add up to big things. Now, think about it this way. Scotty is at a certain level of his game right now that is very good. In fact, it's comparable to most of the players on our team. Well, you look at Pascal, you look at Fred, they made leaps in their third and fourth years in the NBA and got to a whole other level. I expect Scott to do this. That in some ways, he's going to become like a bona fide superstar of our team. And that is where we're going to get the growth. That is where we're going to get big things to happen. And we want to have people around him that he loves playing with, that he helps him win. And that's what we're doing also. These guys around him will help him win. There's so much we're doing that's right. It's just that it's not coming to the results that everybody wants or sees. So they think it's just failure. That's the thing. This team is really good, and I don't want to throw it out or give up on it. Now, one of David Thorpe's points is if you have a really good core, you don't give up on it. You switch coaches to try and see if they can get better stuff out of that. And I agree with him on this. That, yeah, that's smart. Because you don't want to start trading assets like players. You can change the coach easier. And sometimes it is the coach's fault with that group of players not getting the most out of them. Well, I'm willing to do this down the road, but he doesn't make the timeline for this and say we need to do this today. Fuck you, David Thorpe. But he may be right. That maybe if things don't go right, Nick doesn't have his job at the end of the summer, we have a new guy and we keep the core and see if they have a better dealing with them next season. There's all time and schedule for doing things correctly with a very smart, not desperate front office. That, you could be desperate like everybody, like David Thorpe. You need to do it today. Hire Earl Watson today. Do it today. No, we're not desperate. We're not in a rush. There's no toy gun pointed at our head to go do any of this shit. We do it on our own time. Masai's going to do it when he wants to do it. So, yeah, David, you're off his Rolodex. Let's just put it that way. You're probably off of Masai's Rolodex this morning. He's like, fucking David. I don't care if he gave me my first job. He's a fucking asshole for starting this shit on my team. That's probably where he's at right now. Because Masai and I have a lot in common. We think the same way. We both want Larry O'Brien's. And that is not helping us get Larry O'Brien's, what David Thorpe is doing. So, yeah, what have they done to deserve this? They've worked hard. And this is the thing. They're not gauging it by necessarily the win-loss records. They're gauging it by personal development and growth. They're gauging it by like effort and how hard they're working. And if they're bought in, they're looking at all this stuff. And that's why Masai doubled down on this, because he's saying, look, they're doing everything right. And, everybody would think, well, it's not adding up to winning. Well, maybe if it just slipped a little bit improvement, boom, and we're like in this realm of like we dominate. That's what I'm saying. We're closer to dominating in this league than being the absolute shit team. And that's the secret on the download that nobody wants to fucking admit in Raptors Nation because they don't believe it. Well, I'm a positive one, and I do believe it, and I think it's very close. And it's going to be so sweet when I get redemption and we find out that the old Raptors freak was right, that we're closer to being a dominant team because we didn't give up on him because Masai Ujiri understands this. And everybody's going to be like, holy shit, I didn't realize the Raptors could get this good within from what they have right now. I thought they'd have to go get someone to get this good. No, y'all are going to be pleasantly surprised because we're going to kick so much ass with the guys we got right now. And you may not be able to see it right now because it's all cloudy and fucked up, but it's going to happen. I really do see it, especially because Jakob's here now. Jakob made me believe it more than ever. And seriously, the signals from Masai are very clear from this week. If you're not seeing them and understanding that he believes this team can do what, you think he's an idiot and he's going to just pay money to guys that are always going to be mid? No, he understands these guys are going to grow and they're going to be fantastic in the years to come. And he's going to get championships off the backs of a manufactured development growth off of Precious and Scotty and the rest of the guys, how they accumulated already. So that's the way I look at it right now, Raptors fans. And if you want to be with me, a Raptor freak on the positive side, this is a great way to look at it, that we're this close to being actually a very dominant team. And that we just figured out it's all going to click and boom, it's going to be gangbusters and we're going to kick so much ass. And they know this. And that's why they're so scared around the league. And they're trying to make things even crazier here. So, yeah, let's see. Space Cadet saying there's no way you're blaming Nurse for the Tampa season. They had no bench and half the starting lineup was sick. Get the fuck out. Yeah. Spacegate, one of my favorites. Seriously, there's nothing you can't blame anybody for Tampa. You can blame COVID. You can blame COVID in different countries. You can blame that. Blame that. And in fact, we were successful that year. You can casuals to say Tampa, Tampa this, Tampa that. That was a successful year considering the settings of our season and how much we did and what happened with it and the greatness that we got Scotty Barnes out of it. That's a successful season. I'm sorry. We had a losing record. We didn't make the playoffs, but we fucking managed that season like winners. Trust me. A lesser team or a shittier franchise would have crumbled and been like a fucking piece of shit for years to come because of that. In fact, that was part of the whole deal with it. The NBA wanted us to fall apart and be a very shitty bottom feeding team after that happened. And we didn't do that. And it shocked everybody. So that it's a testament to that. Seriously. It's like Masai said, Tampa could have put us back 5 years. I think it only put us back 1 year. And I don't think it put us back that far either. It could have put any other franchise back 5 years. Having to do some shit like that, trust me. Oh my gosh. Jimmy Pub saying he ain't going nowhere. Nick Nurse ain't going nowhere. No, he's not. You go ahead and just put your shit out. Alton Brown's weird looking cousin. You go ahead and put that shit out. Get your likes. And yeah, put out that new fake news bullshit you're putting out right now. Nameless saying, Ujiri hinted that Nurse's job security is fine. The moment Masai accepted responsibility for poor roster construction, the onus was lifted. There you go. He's not blaming Nick. He's maybe blaming himself because he didn't get them a center sooner. Oh man, I should have got them a center 2 years ago, but it didn't line up right until now. It's almost like an eclipse had to happen. The moon was placed this way, and then the Pirtle appeared. It couldn't happen like as soon as we wanted it to, unfortunately, but it happened the way it's supposed to, and it's happened now. So yeah, it's exactly right. Nameless is saying he watched that press conference. I watched it 5 times because I really wanted to hear Masai and hear him and really get the message of what he's saying because I believe him and he's pretty much been straight up this whole 10 years. He's been in charge of our team. So why wouldn't I listen to the words from his mouth and what he is saying? And that's exactly right. He said Nurse's job security is fine. Mike's saying he has a winning record as a coach for the Raps. Nick is able to make things work with the underdeveloped guys and making sure they are in best of positions to succeed. Winning games with this isn't easy. There's a lot he's trying to juggle this year. And there's a lot of things that have really been hard to overcome because they've been difficult. The Pascal injury, the Precious injury. There's all kinds of weird shit that's happened with this team with timing that's made it hard. We had a super ultra difficult schedule to start the season. And we were super successful considering the caliber of teams we had to hit right away, right at the beginning of the year. And our record looked good still. And in some ways, I look at that and gauge that for the real Raptors because we came in healthy. We had everybody going and we were winning a lot of the games against Philadelphia and different teams at the beginning of the year. So in some ways, I look at our beginning of our season as being the most real Raptors for the season. But now the new addition with Jakob here is going to be the most real Raptors. The losing Raptors this season weren't the real Raptors. The very beginning of the season were the real Raptors until Pascal got hurt. And now we're trying to reclaim that again. And we've had our ups and downs. We've come close. One of the things that's pissing me off right now is everybody's not noticing that we're on a winning trend right now. If you look at our last 15 games, we've won a higher percentage of losing. And we're actually winning again and on the down low. But we're still getting losses every once in a while. And that's why people are confused. And they're saying bullshit, out of pocket shit. We're actually winning again, guys. And you're not even paying attention to notice that. You go look at our last section of games and we won 6 out of 4. So we're on the winning side of things more than losing. And we're trending in the right direction. So that's the thing when people got to open their eyes to. It's not this bullshit tabloid shit people are saying out of pocket. It's the reality of the situation. Jakob is here. We're going to get better. And we are trending better in the standings. We really are. G saying other fan bases are calling us toxic Philly fans. Even when we were really bad, it wasn't so toxic. Criticism is totally acceptable, but it's becoming more than that. Yeah, people are looking at us from the outside and laughing at us. This is exactly what they wanted. Good job, Raptors Nation, you idiots that are out there being toxic. You're giving what the Celtics Nation, the Sixers Nation wants. You idiots. You idiots. You are just as bad as a mark for Putin. In my book, you mark out for Putin and think Russia's right for invading Ukraine. You're just as bad. You're just like them. You fell for it, you idiots. This toxicity that you're reveling in like a pig in slop. You fucking go do that and hurt our team over and over again. You're not fans. That's why I'm calling it Raptors Nation. I'm not calling it Fan Nation anymore because a big percentage of Raptors Nation is not actually fans, apparently. And I'm really sad to report this. I think this is true, G, that this has not been this bad ever. This may be the worst toxic level that the Raptors fan nation has ever been at in the history of the franchise. And I'm so disappointed in y'all. I'm going to tell you that right now. You need to come get your head straight. Come see the Raptor Freak. Van Hoot saying Delano working his way back from injury on 905, doing well. Jakob's bone-crushing screens make so much more space. The final 20 games will be lit. I love this. This is Van Hoot. This is Basketball Rewind. This is a great channel on YouTube, and this is a great basketball mind because he can see it. He can see what I'm saying. He's saying, look, he sees it. The last 25 games of the season are going to be lit. That it's going to be exciting, and I just know because I can see ahead of it. And you guys are going to be having so much fun for the next couple months with the Raptors. It's not going to be as dire and sad and depressing as it's been this whole season. We're going to get that Jakob sunshine real quick, y'all. We're going to get it real quick. And Van Hoot's seeing it. I like that he's talking about the Delano thing. The injury part and the 905 stuff is important. Delano was hurt this season, and he needs that injury rehab with the 905. He may be in Westchester. I'm not totally sure where Delano Banton is right now. If he's with the Raptors here in town still, or he's in New York. Fun guy saying, that's okay. Philly fans and outside perspectives aren't the ones that are going to shape change and progress. We fans will. They call it toxic when it's really intelligent and realism. No, it's not. Fun guy. Once again, we are not smarter than Bobby and Masai. We're not smarter than Nick Nurse. We're not smarter than Fred VanVleet. We're not smarter than Jakob Poeltl. These guys are all way more smarter about basketball than we are. And in some ways, I'm a reaction stream. I'm not somebody who's trying to say what I want them to do. I don't tell Nick Nurse what to do unless it's something that I see like, okay, maybe you should have played Jakob at the end of the game. Yeah, maybe I do tell Nick Nurse what to do. But I'm not telling Bobby and Masai what to do because I really don't get into front office moves and personnel moves or anything like that. I'm not going to call for Nick Nurse's head. I'm not going to be joining these people. You know, the fans are really just a bunch of noise. And they've said this a couple times this week. Masai said it, Nick said it, Fred said it, Pascal said it. And, you know, maybe they do pay a little bit of attention to what we're saying, but in a lot of ways, we don't matter. A lot of it's just bullshit, hot air. And you know what? You're overinflating our importance in this whole thing. They make the decisions, and God forbid that they actually make their decisions based on the popularity of what Raptors fan nation thinks we should do. God forbid that, because that would be the worst thing to do. Populism is not good for an NBA franchise. Trust me. Because the populist ideals of Raptors Nation are not good and they're not smart, especially currently in this present time right now. So I'm going to disagree with you completely, fun guy. It's not intelligent or real. It's fucking dumb. And the less we look like the Philadelphia toxic cesspool of a fan nation that they have, the better. In fact, because we look like those nations right now. We look like a very toxic New York Knicks fan nation right now, and I hate it. We don't want to be like our Atlantic Division teams and that kind of dysfunction. So stop it, Raptors Nation. If you really care about this team, you won't add to the noise at this point. You'll be a part of what we're trying to do, fighting against it. So let's keep going. Nameless is saying, this channel is like my home, and the weather is so bad outside right now. I can't even leave the room. It's like that. Seriously. There's so many different people that have been saying this to me in the last 3 days that thank God you're doing what you're doing, Lex, because I want to talk Raptors. I want to be involved in thinking about what they're going to do, but I don't want to go through all this toxic sludge that is just out there at this point. Twitter is a mess. Twitter is completely turned on our team, and it's just saying so much stupid shit right now out of pocket. And like I said, there's people that I really respect and like that are pushing this stupid shit also, and they just need to just really analyze what you're doing and whether it's helpful or not is what I'm saying to people in our nation, our Raptors nation. Let's see. G saying, do people think if they keep crying about the same thing that front office will listen? And when they don't, these fans' egos hate it and they turn into legit crazy people. I know it's very immature. It's very spoiled brat. It's like you're the child in the room and the mother says, you can't play with that toy anymore, Johnny, because you hit your sister in the face with it. But I want to play with this toy, Bobby. And you're kicking and screaming because you're not getting what you want. This is really what y'all are like. Seriously, can we be more mature? Can we be more grown up? Can you be like, you know what? Listen, I'm not in charge. I'm not working for the Raptors. Maybe in my own fantasy world, I work for the Raptors and I make personnel decisions and I can make trades and fire the coach. Well, you can't, motherfucker. You're living in a fantasy world. Stop being so delusional and just let the men that do the jobs in reality do the damn jobs, is what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. And if they don't do what they want, oh, Bobby, I want that toy. Oh no, I want to fire Nick Nurse. Oh no, he won't do it. Be little spoiled brat, little baby motherfuckers, and have a temper tantrum because you don't get what you want. Fred's not gone. Fred's not gone at the trade deadline. You're like that baby at the fucking Mama's Pizza that I want. Shut the fuck up. Shut that kid up in that corner. He's crying. I'm sorry. I got so indignantly angry just now that it made me laugh. All right, let's do the ref report for today on this note. Hilarious. All right, the refs today for the Raptors here in Toronto against the Detroit Pistons. We got Jason Goebel as our head ref. He's the Miami ref, that baldy. He's one of them Goebel brothers. And Goebel is a police officer for 13 years in the Miami-Dade Police Department. I just want y'all to know when we're hanging around with the narc. Just so you know, his favorite TV show is Power. He likes the movie. That's right. Masai Ujiri's theme song, The Godfather, baby. That's his favorite movie. Favorite musician, Mark Anthony. Favorite book, Pirates in Blue. He better not be pirating no fucking win from the Raptors today. Favorite app, Netflix. He'd most like to go to Tahiti. He'd like to roll his own cigar in Cuba. You live in Miami. Just go across the water. There's people coming that way, other way. You can go the other way. Go over there yourself, my Goebel. Goebel, it's in your name, Goebel. Go, just go, Goebel. His favorite meal is veal parmesan. So get that veal parmesan ready, Tom Duke. I see you're not here. You may be sleeping in. That's okay, Tom Duke. You get your sleep on the West Coast. As far as winning percentage with Jason Goebel, he is our worst referee for the Raptors today. We win 47% of our games when he is present. We lost the last game this season that he refereed. And the Pistons win 31%. So he actually still favors us, even though he is the worst percentage-wise for us. The lead ref, Jason Goebel, a cop. Nick Bookert is our second ref. He's from Orlando. So we got a couple of Florida boys today, I should say. Game of Thrones and Walking Dead are his favorite TV shows. His favorite movie is Gladiator. His favorite musician is David Gray. His favorite book is October Sky. He likes the app Bands in Town. He would most like to visit Rome, and he'd also like to attend the Super Bowl. You know what, Nick Booker? The Super Bowl is today, so maybe you can get done officiating, get the Super Bowl today. I don't know if you're going to get your dream today on your bucket list because you're working, bro. You can't go attend the Super Bowl. You're in Toronto, man. His interests include traveling, cooking, working out, and biking. He's an avid wine collector, and Bookert has more than 500 bottles in his wine cellar. So we got a cop and we got a wino. Yeah, I'm all about that. As far as things with the record with Nick Bookert, we win 63% of the time when he's reffing. We actually have the best record with him out of the three refs today. We lost the last game he reffed, and the record for Detroit is 46%. So the split on Nick Bookert is 63-46 Raptors. Third ref is Nate Green. He's a great ref for us. We've liked Nate Green for a while. He's from Des Moines, Iowa. His favorite TV show is The Wire. He likes the movie Coming to America. His favorite musician, Selena Johnson. His favorite book is Lone Survivor. His favorite app is Netflix. He'd most like to visit Africa, and he wants some tagliatelle bolognese. So a very specific Italian dish for him. Nate Green is involved in his community's annual diversity walk, which celebrates people from all backgrounds and walks of life. He enjoys playing golf, bass fishing, and wine collecting. So we got a couple wine collectors coming in today. Jason Goebel, is our ref, veal parmesan. Nick Booker, steak. And Nate would like the tagliatelle bolognese. Now, Nate Green's record with us is 63% winning percentage, which is not bad. And we lost the last game he refereed also. And the win percentage for Detroit is 25%. So these, Detroit's been a bad team recently. So the win percentage all favor us today. Now, if we go by what happened on Friday, the win percentage for the 2 of the 3 refs favored the Jazz. And that was a good indication that a ref hit job was coming. So if we're going to look at things today, and maybe not going to be a ref hit job, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, because that ref hit job was very damaging to us. And let's think about what was happening with us in the last couple of days since this loss, and wonder, did the NBA want us to lose to make us even more of a dumpster fire in this way? Did they have Eric Lewis call a whole bunch of fouls on us early in the fourth quarter to put Utah in the bonus to help the Jazz win, because they knew it would really hurt the Raptors and put us even worse toxic place with our fan nation? Maybe Windhurst. Let's kick them while they're down and make them even worse and make them worried and make them have to blow up, because that's the general consensus that they want us to believe. They can make our championship team blow up by getting Kawhi to leave no matter what. But now they see us getting close again and getting something good going again. They want to blow it up again before it gets even close. So we have to start all over again and start building a team for another 10 years, 5 years or so. Fuck that. You don't crumple up your rough draft when you start writing a book all and completely and throw it away. You use what you can use, and you use it as a draft to build off of. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all that want to destroy our core or tear it down, you're fucking talking about making our team shitty for 10 years when you do this, just so you realize. A lot of the inertia and the things that have been built since Kyle and DeMar started this shit over 10 years ago, it would be lost. And that when you talk about destroying our core and restarting and rebuilding, you're tearing down basically the last 15 years of growth that the Raptors have worked very hard on accruing. So there you go. There's another reason not to do it. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Nameless is saying, okay, I read that. Okay, a logical saying, top of top, to hold assets, to hold value, and figure out who's the one that we can let go. Bro, Van Hoot, basketball rewind, facts. I think his screens actually help 3-point shooting. I like this. Mike's replying to 2 different people. He's really liking what Van Hoot's saying, and I agree. I'm with Van Hoot too. I love this whole aspect of Ayako. And then the other thing is, this is true. This is what Masai said. Once again, we're listening to Masai. We're using this and not this. We're using this. And the words come in from Masai's mouth. It goes, and it goes into your ear. And then your brain hears it and you understand it. This is how it works, people around the NBA. And Masai is saying that he wants to keep this band together and he'll assess it this summer. And you know what? He's telling them, he said, the carrot in front of you guys is, Gary, that you will get paid if you play very well. This is how he's motivating them. And that in some ways, he's got his money in his hand. He's like, you know what? Who's going to get this? Which one of you guys wants to get paid this summer? You better perform and play your ass off. And then maybe we'll pay you this summer. And that's what he means. He's got to figure out which one he wants to throw money at because they're worth it. And that's what he's doing. He's doing his job as a part of the front office. That's exactly what he should be doing. Jay Conda saying, hey, Nameless. Hey, Jay Conda. Dwayne Greenridge is here. This is a fantastic Raptor freak. We love Dwayne and so happy to see him in the chat this morning. What a beautiful day. Good morning, Raptor Freaks fam. Let's go. Our boys are going to right the ship today and get back through. Yeah, I'm totally with you, Dwayne. I feel good about today, too. I feel like we get the Detroit Pistons today. We beat Orlando. We have a couple wins going out into the All-Star break. This is really good, considering also, once again, these will add to our winning trends that are going on with our team right now. You know, we've only lost 2 games in February so far, and we've won 3. That's good. And the only 2 games were to Utah. It's crazy. And Black Spawn's doubling down on what Dwayne's saying and saying facts. Listen, it's sunshiny in Toronto today. I don't know why people want to be so dour and sad. If you're a Raptors fan, you should have a lot of excitement like Dwayne does this morning about the prospect of what the Toronto Raptors may become very shortly. And we may see by Super Bowl tonight. You may be seeing what we're talking about already today. I was hoping it would happen on Friday and just show up, but it didn't have enough time to get right. But I have a feeling one day of practice yesterday with Jakob Poeltl involved, we're going to see a lot of new stuff, and people are going to see how it adds up to winning. And they're going to be like, holy shit, they were right on the Raptor Free channel. These positive Raptor fans that believed in them were saying, believe in them. And we're going to come out and they're be like, holy shit, they were right. And Masai was right too. That's what I'm saying. Space Cadet saying, shocking revelation. He who must not be named is doing a live stream about Thorpe's comments and acting like he's been right about Nick all along. Oh my gosh. Well, there you go. You can see the two sides of the coin right there. You got me on one side and you got Robert Pensair on the other. Oh my gosh. Well, you tell me which is a healthier, more fun channel to watch. You tell me which one seems like they know what they're fucking talking about just a little bit more. You tell me. You guys going to piggyback on David Thorpe's asinine ass comments, Alton Brown's weird ass cousin. Yeah, I'm going to keep calling him that. This is his new name. We had Jake from State Farm last summer, and now we got Alton Brown's weird ass cousin. Those are the new names, just so y'all are still in the know. It's much like Jim Cornette has shit stain. We know who shit stain is. It's Vince Russo. Well, we now know who Alton Brown's weird cousin is. It is David Thorpe. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm one. Of course, he's gonna jump in. He's validating some of the stupid ass shit that idiot is saying. So of course he's gonna put him on blast on his content. Jimmy's saying so many people that are so intelligent when it comes to basketball. They should call Masai and give him some tips. Laugh my ass off. Stay in your lane. Oh yeah, Jimmy. Of course. Seriously. I mean, listen. Oh my gosh. I know that I talk. I know a lot, but I still know that I have limits, and I really don't know some stuff. A lot of my stuff is based on history. A lot of my stuff is based on watching the NBA very closely since the mid 80s. And really watching the history of the game and understanding the history of the game and the coaches and the players that come before, and understanding their tales and their stories and the outcomes and what worked and what didn't. And I'm not a byproduct of this new culture of social media. I'm not a byproduct of like tabloid reporting or trade deadline, like, woohoo, trade deadline, so fun. No, I care about basketball. I care about the things that matter in basketball before any of this bullshit, even before ESPN dunk culture. All before that, I was about X's and O's, John Wooden kind of shit. 5 men on the court, playing defense, working together, and making the best outcomes happen. And that's the thing that's different than me. A lot of these people have gone through the evolution of the game, individual, superstar times of the NBA, and they really value it in a way that's not team-oriented like I do. And in a way, the way I look at basketball is like Hoosiers. It's like Gene Hackman. It's like the original. It's like fucking Kentucky basketball and the fucking over the decades. It's like every fucking good thing about the real thing about basketball. And these motherfuckers like Pensair and other people, they're more about like fucking E.T. Entertainment tonight, y'all. It's like, well, Nick Nurse's head's on the chopping block because David Thorpe is talked out of his ass once again. That's what y'all are. Inside edition, motherfuckers. That's who you guys are. And that's what I'm saying. That's the difference right there. Let's see. Space Cadet saying, shaking my head. He was a Knicks supporter this entire time, but I guess jumping on the new hate bandwagon brings in views. It really is part of it. Like, seriously, if they don't have the hate, then they're nothing. And in some ways, I know I had the hate for them, and there's a weird kind of like on top of a top of the top of thing. But in some ways, I feel my hate is justified in the right and saying that, listen, we want Larry O'Brien's, we want this Raptor team to win, and y'all are not helping this situation, and y'all need to just shut the fuck up. And that's why I have hate today. It's not hate for the team. It's not hate for our coach. It's not hate for Fred VanVleet. It's hate for the people that are coming after them is who I got hate for right now. Yeah. Let's see. Nako's saying, I mean, we could also argue that given where Ibaka and Gasol's careers went, we should have just kept JV to begin with. You know, there's all kinds of woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know, no, Gasol was the right move at the time. He was the upgrade that got us the championship, Gerald. That was very necessary, and it was a brilliant move, honestly. Listen, we could argue all kinds of crazy, stupid ass woulda, coulda shit. It's just happened the way it has. And overall, if you look at the Raptors track record with Masai Ujiri running it, we've made way more smart moves than bad moves. We've had good stuff happen. Even if it's something that didn't totally pan out like Otto Porter, it's a really good move still, trust me. So, yeah, there's a lot of people can say all kinds of crazy shit about woulda, coulda, shoulda in the past. And yeah, keeping JV was not necessary at that point. I hated trading JV, but I knew that it was the right move and that we were going to win a Larry O'Brien. In fact, there's clips of me from the convenience store, Gerald, that you came in and you saw me. You were on that show. If you guys want to watch the old convenience store show that I used to do in Kensington Market, it is in my library on my YouTube channel. And you will see Naco the Nacho appear on that show. He actually would be on that show from time to time, Gerald. And on that show, Gerald, there's a time-stamped clip that I did the day after we got Marc Gasol, and I said we were going to win the NBA championship that year. And that was when we made that deal around the trade deadline in February of 2019. Way before we got anywhere near it, I was already predicting Larry O'Brien coming to Toronto when we made that move, because I knew that Gasol was the right savvy and smarts and the fit to get us over the top, to get us there. And I was right. And that's all timestamps. So we can go check my track record for predicting shit. Let's see. Nameless saying, good morning to Jay Conda. Good to see you. Good to see the friendships and DAP. Jay's saying, you guys ever meet up to go watch a game? We should go for a bite to eat and cheer together. I promise I'm not creepy. Canadian veteran, don't have anyone to watch games with. Jay Conda, you know what? Seriously, we have been talking about doing this. We did get together and go to a game earlier this season. We went to preseason games. Sue, the Saborans, Monique. You know, we had a good little crew of people. Adriana. It was very nice. And we've talked about doing this again. In fact, we were talking about getting a skybox in the press box and having us all sit up there. It would have been around like $110 each. And that's not bad. But I'm also afraid of heights. I don't know if I want to sit all the way up in the press box. It's very scary up there. But no, the other thing we talked about, Jay Conda, is meeting at like somewhere like a restaurant downtown and having a regular Raptor Freak hangout for games. In fact, if I get out of my house and stop being such a shut-in, I might have a regular spot that I'm always at to watch games. And it may be well known among you guys on this channel that if anybody who ever wants to come to that place and watch the game with me, they can. That I'll try and make it regularly there. It may be the kind of thing where I say on that stream that day, I will be at the Real Jerk at Gerard and Carlaw for the game. I won't do that today, but I'm really seriously putting this in the works that there may be a regular hangout to watch the games at the Real Jerk at Carlaw and Gerard. That's probably where we'll do it, just because it's really close to my house. And then it would be, you know, easy for me to continuously go there. And if people want to come, like Evelyn wanted to come and watch the game with me, you know, Gerald, you know, that would be fun. And then, you know, we could have a regular kind of HQ for the Raptor Freaks. And I kind of like the Real Jerk. I think this got great food. It's independently owned and not a chain. And it's just a good vibe. So in some ways, I want to maybe do it from that location. So just so you know, that is in the works, and this could actually happen very soon, especially if you keep bringing it up. I'll be saying, yeah, Jay Conda, meet me at the Real Jerk for the game tonight. I'll be there. Monique saying, does everyone see how tight the standings are? Everyone needs to stop listening to guys like Will Liu, JD Bunkus, David Thorpe, etc. Too negative. Man, I stopped. You should too. New episodes of Open Gym is out. All right, Monique, thank you for bringing a lot in. Some of it talking about the negativity. See, Monique Lawrence is a smart Raptors fan. She's been following the Raptors for a long, long time. She's heard a lot of different voices cover the Raptors over the years. And she really is a very positive Raptor freak. She really loves this team. I think there's no disputing that Monique Lawrence wants the best things for the Raptors. Well, she's with us. And she's seeing that this is all a bunch of bullshit noise. And she's cutting it out of her life, too, and her media consumption. She's like, I don't even want to fucking talk to y'all. In some ways, people become dead to you at a certain point. Just because you hear so many out-of-pocket, stupid-ass takes about the Raptors, they just become dead to you because you're just like, I can't take you seriously at this point. And I think Monique has found a few of those this year. It's like, I can't take you seriously anymore. I'm sorry. You're bugging me. Yeah, great mention of the Open Gym episode that dropped yesterday on the Big Cat, Jamal Magloire. In some ways, I really feel like a trivia we did on Jamal Magloire recently really kind of informed some things because he was really going over some of the things we talked about on the trivia that day a couple of weeks ago. It very much going into his career in the NBA, his history here in Toronto, playing high school ball here for Eastern Commerce, and really cool interviews with like present day Raptors and different people that know Jamal from different times. Cool to hear Thad Young talk about being very young in this league and playing against Jamal because he was still playing at that time. That's how long Thad's been playing. That he played against Jamal when he was still playing. And really cool. It's like Thad saying that Jamal Magloire is just like how he was when he played as our coach on the bench. So there's all this shit talking that this is our house stuff. It comes naturally to him because that's the way he was when he played. You go, Jamal Magloire, a true Raptor, great legend, one of the Canadian Raptors, still very much ensconced an important part of our coaching staff and still been such a huge part of our organization in certain ways. In fact, it's really cool in that open gym that come out yesterday. You understand why Magloire is very valuable on our coaching staff because of his size, because of his expertise, because of his all-star pedigree as a player. He can really do things with our big men in practice and in training and development in a really, really good way because he has real experience and he has the real size, the real strength, the real savvy, and the real smarts to really play up against guys like Koloko, Jakob, Thaddeus, Precious, and get them way better against big men. Having a guy on your coaching staff that's a big, former big that was in the league is so valuable. So I appreciate the new open gym on Big Cat, and I highly recommend it to everybody. I like that the open gym guys are doing other subjects and not really focusing on the team right now. Yeah, it's smart. Go do it on Jamal now. Yeah, you guys want to do some content and material. Yeah, just maybe not focus on the team right this second. We'll go check with them when they get it all righted today afterwards. It's hilarious. Blackhawks saying, big up, Lex. Trust in Masai. Many of the fans have to get their anxiety out of their system. They're looking for miracle answers instead of riding out the storm. Listen, once again, I know Raptors Nation, we all want the same thing. We want the Raptors to win. We want them to do well. We want to win more championships. And we have different ways of approaching it. I know that I was a very cynical, pessimistic person when I was younger. In my 20s, I was an alcoholic. I drank a lot, and it really tainted my head chemically to think in negative ways from a negative basis because I didn't realize the alcohol actually was making me have a negativity problem because partly I was allergic to it because I have a gluten intolerance. And there's a ton of gluten in beer. So I was not only getting myself drunk as an alcoholic, I also was feeding an allergy to my body. And in some ways, that made me more irritable because my body was in distress from taking in vast, copious amounts of something that was actually very poisonous for me. And it's kind of funny that, I realized how negative my mindset was at those times in some ways with the Raptors in relation to what was happening. I'm talking about like Bosch era. I'm talking about Carter era because I got sober in 2010. And, my mindset has changed. It's almost like chemical. Some people may have negative mindsets because it's chemical in their life. You guys may not even realize some of the things you're eating or some of the things that you ingest actually help cause your disposition to be one way or the other. So it's really smart to get in to learn about things that you can eat that can enhance your mood and make you happier. That's why it's so important, nutrition. I don't think that we teach kids in school enough about eating correctly and that we're more worried about making money by selling cheap food to people that isn't good for us. And that makes even more problems inside us when we do consume it. And we don't even realize it. You think about every kid out there that eats McDonald's every single day for food. That is not proper nutrition. And it does not make them have a brain that develops correctly as they get older because it's not good food and it's not nutrition. And in some ways, this is the way classist society is withheld, is that the rich people can get the best food and have the best nutrition for their children so that they're smarter. And that the people that don't have the money have to buy the cheap ass food that does not give the nutrients to their children to learn as well. So that's crazy. I know I just went off on a weird tangent right now, but nutrition matters and it can help your mindset, whether you're negative or positive. And that's something I learned the hard way in my life. I was such a negative, awful person when I was younger, when I was drunk. And it has been monumental, the 180 change that I've had in my life with turning from a negative person to a positive person. So I can really get in their mindset and understand why they think this way. It's really that they're in distress. They may be poisoning themselves with bad food. There you go. There you go. And see, we're helping people with their lives. Hopefully, maybe one person heard me say that and they're like, holy shit, I just figured out this could help me. something like that. I hope so. I want to help lives, not just the Raptors to get those Larry O'Briens. I want to help lives too. Forget was saying, he who shall not be named should be ashamed. He has one motive, making a living exploiting ignorance and hate. Looking forward to seeing Jakob tonight. Fortunately, this is like a business model for many people around the world. This is the fucking Rush Limbaugh business model. This is the fucking Alex Jones business model. And people are very successful in making a lot of money and establishing themselves as somebody by feeding off the hate, feeding off the anxieties, the fears of people. And that's what people need to be very smart about, the media sources and the people they listen to, because some of these people are feeding off of your own fears and insecurities. And when you figure that out, you know who to listen to. Instead, I'm giving you life skills to try and help you live better. These other people are going to tell you why you should be afraid or upset or mad instead. Jan saying, in the house, Jan in the house, Jan in the house, Jan in the house. Let's go Raps. Today, we'll beat the refs tonight. Damn right, we're going to beat the refs. I want to beat that cop. I'm just kidding. Jason Goble, you're cool. All right, let's see. Blackhawk said, great comment. Yeah, and it's really spawned a great comment from me. Seriously, I didn't think I'd start talking about nutrition today. Food guy, fun guy, food guy. I'm a fun guy saying, we definitely trust in Masai. He makes the right decisions eventually. I mean, look, we called for a center for so long. He finally got us Jakob. When he realizes a limit, I'm sure he will make decisions too. See, that's the thing. We don't understand the timeline in his head or on the board in his office of anything, with the salary cap, with players' contracts, with anything, with this timeline of letting Nick Nurse have a leash on how much he can fuck up before he chops his head. We don't understand any of that. And it may be closer than we think. I mean, listen, if Masai said tomorrow he was going to fire Nick Nurse, I would trust him. But until he says that, I'm not coming for his head. And that's the difference between you and me. People that are coming after his head. Is that I would trust Masai. If he said that he's firing Nick Nurse tomorrow, I would say this is a good move. But if he's not going to do that, I'm going to trust in Masai. And that's just the basics of it right there. G saying Kyrie and Luka took 41 shots together. The rest of the team got under 10. This should be interesting with them. This is the thing. Does defense win championships? Well, then Dallas and Phoenix ain't going to win no championship because their teams don't have no defense. Let's just put it that way. Lion saying at Naka, if you keep JV, you probably, I don't know what's saying. It's so going back. If you're talking about Jonas Valanciunas and his role on this team, you're going way too far back. We're not talking about that far back, Gerald. I'm sorry, bro. We can't talk about Jonas at this point. He's on like his second team since he's been with us. Let's see. Logical saying, whatever. The Giannis money went to holding OG and Gary and the other depth guys like Thad and Birch, which is now Pirtle and Otto and Banton. That Giannis money was spent well for the most part. Yeah, it just had to go to plan B. Plan A was Giannis. Don't get it twisted. We were lining up that runway to land that plane, but that plane never took off. It stayed exactly where it was on the landing where it was already. G saying, I did not like Nurse's fourth quarter lineup during the Utah game, but we need to give him a chance now that they finally have a center. He has to change his schemes around this, and players need to relearn. This is exactly right. Mike and I are not, or G and I are not giving a pass to Nick Nurse. We are very critical of him. In fact, I have a criticism of him every single game almost. I will be a little nitpicky. But we also understand his value. It's so dumb. In that David Thorpe thing, he says in the middle of it, he's like, he'll get fired, but he'll be hired right away. What are your other motives? Are you trying to get Nick Nurse loose so he can go to another team and help another team all of a sudden? See, I don't like this. There's so much that smells like shit in this whole David Thorpe report. All kinds of like weird, like things that I could Windhurst and fucking aggregate from it in all kinds of different ways for his motives. Like, what are your motives, David Thorpe, with what are you doing? Are you trying to help the Raptors? Well, you're not. You're actually doing the opposite. You're not helping the Raptors. If you care about Pascal because you worked with him in the past, or you like Masai because you helped him get his foot in the door, you're not helping your friends. Let's just put it that way. Let's keep going. Jimmy's saying, having a bad season with a team that has obvious gaps in it, fire the championship coach that is coveted around the league makes total sense. I know, Jimmy, you just made something that just sold me on it. We got to fire him tomorrow. Oh my gosh, that logic is so obvious right there that I just, you know what? It's a deal breaker at this point. I got to get behind what they're saying because of what Jimmy said. I mean, seriously, there's come on, y'all. You are smart people in Raptors Nation. Toronto, Canada, we are very smart people in this city. We're smarter than most US cities on the average overall. What the fuck is wrong with y'all right now? Seriously. G saying 3 years without a proper big was no fault of his own, and playing small ball without shooters clearly didn't work. My advice is temper expectations, let them work out their flaws. They have talent. That's what I'm saying. They have a lot of talent. We have a stockpile, a huge amount of talent. And in some ways, it's like that zit on your face is just about to burst with pus. Why are we going to fucking get rid of our zit when it's right about to give us the good, gross shit? I don't think that's the right analogy. But you understand what I'm saying. There's a pressure building up in our team that's going to, and it's going to be not in a bad way. It's a pressure that's building up where there's going to be a leap and a bound where our team is going to just like jump in a major jump as far as how good it is in the league. And that we're waiting for it. It's about to come. And all y'all are getting impatient. And you may fuck it up before it happens because you're so whiny, crying babies for something. And that's what I'm saying. We don't need to do that. We need to have patience, like Masai said, and allow them to have a chance to work this all out, how they want to do it. It's not how you guys want to do it. It's how they want to do it. Don Vito saying, hey, Alexi, good morning. I love to see Don Vito's name. It's been a little bit, and he's a great presence in this chat at times. I've really enjoyed Don Vito's presence. As I try and scroll back to his comment. Sorry. Where's Don Vito? Where is Don Vito? Don Vito. Wow, y'all are filled it up just like I hope the Raptors do today. Okay, hey, Alexi, good morning, buddy. Hope you're well, man. Just checking in to say hi, bro. Much love as always, homie. Respect. Don Vito, yes. Let's get that Raptor win for Don Vito today. Did you hear me do the Godfather theme earlier, Don Vito? You may want to go a little earlier in the stream. It's on the referee report for today. Jason Goebel's favorite movie is The Godfather, and I did a great rendition of me doing the air violin to the Godfather theme. And I think with your name, you would appreciate it. Top saying, I didn't think we could get Giannis based on our history of getting free agents. I'm positive, but an independent thinker. Going on a win streak against cupcake teams is fool's gold. I'm not easily fooled. Well, I would say it's fool's gold the other way if you're going in a negative way. Seriously. We can paint this both ways. Like there's fool's gold on both sides. And maybe I'm the more optimistic, crazy person in this way. Sure. But all right, listen, we did have a chance to get Giannis. And if it wasn't the Bucks, it was going to be us. If he hadn't stayed and showed loyalty to the Bucks, he would have came to Toronto. Trust me, we would have gotten him. The linkages to him and Masai Ujiri are very strong. And the fact that you don't, I mean, you got to understand this is true. The Masai brought him to the NBA. In some ways, Giannis is not in the NBA without Masai Ujiri. And that they have a very strong connection and they do very much like each other. If Giannis is not in a Bucks uniform, he's in a Raptors uniform, just so you know. So it was a lot closer than you think. You may have been shocked if Giannis Antetokounmpo had chose us if he wasn't happy in Milwaukee. Well, he's happy in Milwaukee and he likes that team. And I love that he stayed there. Honestly, I'm glad we missed out on that because Giannis staying with the team, the Milwaukee Bucks, is good for the league. It's good for the health of the league. It's good for a small market team like that. And it's a good role model for younger players not to be like, I'm fucking cutting and running on a team that built me up. So I'm very happy that he stayed with Milwaukee, honestly, even though it was a loss for us because it was better for the health of the league overall. And that's why I'll say that. So yeah, listen, who will see who's fooled? And it's not about being fooled or anything. It's just I'm rooting for our team to win, and that's where I come from. That's all I care about. I don't want to be right. It's not why I'm doing this. I just want them to win. I want them to have good results. And if I'm a fool for that, so be it. Let me be a fool wishing my team to win every time. And that'll be it. And don't poo-poo us getting wins. Wins are so hard in this league this year. And getting the wins are important no matter what. I don't care what level caliber team this is. We've had it in the history of the Raptors. We beat teams we had no business beating, and we've gotten beaten by teams we had no business getting beaten by. The league is just a very interesting place where you want to game it to win as much as possible. And we know how to do this. It's just we got to get back to it. Let's see. Solstice is saying overplaying starters not only burns out guys, but also makes it easier for the opposing team to game plan. I agree with this. I've never agreed with Nick overplaying our starters. I've always thought that he did not balance the bench enough. And this may be what he needs to fix to keep his job. that this is kind of nodded. Once again, I'm listening to Masai, and he's saying, yeah, I'm not happy with how our players are getting developed in some ways. And that Nick may really need to listen because Masai could fire him for not doing this balance a little bit better. And I think that it's just sound and makes smart is smart anyway. I think that Nick has it in his mind that if he doesn't play the most quality lineup all the time, that we're in trouble. And there is some evidence to that when he overplays the bench too much altogether at the same time. But when he mixes and matches starters with bench, he has a very cohesive, fine lineup that's capable at all times. And he's getting better at that. It's been an up and down with this. During the injuries last fall, he did have to ride those guys a little bit harder just because guys were missing, and he had to. But I think what he said in the interview the other day was he doesn't want anybody to play over 35 minutes. So Nick is saying this himself that if ideally he doesn't play anybody over 35 minutes. So he is signaling he's trying. So let's give him that at least. So, but I agree with this. This does hurt our team, and this is the way it hurts it to me. Is if we overplay the starters, they don't have enough energy at the end of the game to close the game effectively for us to win. And that has been a lot of our close losses this season. And I will directly link him overplaying the starters to some of our close losses because Fred wasn't energetic enough to do what he needed to do to carry us to the win, or Pascal was worn down and just holding his knees and tired and stuff like that. I'll agree with you, Solstice, to a degree. And I like that you're not just outright saying like get rid of Nurse. You're criticizing him, and I think that is valid. And that also the part that you're putting in is the opposing teams, how it helps them. And I think that's true too. So this is a good way to be critical and not just be dismissive and saying, fuck him, I want him out. He's giving us good reasons and reasoning. And I appreciate that, Solstice, in your comment. I want y'all to know that we can be critical and negative. It's just that it's got to be towards something good happening. And what he said is something where we can turn around and say, well, this is this. And like I said, Nick has said he doesn't want to play anybody over 35 minutes. That came out of the words out of his mouth in the last 3 days. So he's going to try. Hopefully he's a man of his word. G saying, I thought they had a chance because Masai helped Giannis's family with their passports. Giannis did test out free agency, or he would have signed with the Bucks immediately. Masai speaks with them. We had a chance. We really, really did. And it didn't pan out. And I'm so glad our gambling front office in some ways took that gamble because it would have been a huge home run. It would have been a huge, huge home run if Giannis was in the Raptors red right now. Line Hunter saying at Naco, if Raptors keep JB, they don't win a championship. Just saying. Yeah. That's what I was trying to point out to Gerald at that time. Jake saying, who do you think should come off the bench? Good to see you, Jake Caesar. You know what? I think that I like Pirtle starting. And I think that we should get the 4 guys that were from that year around that time, OG, Fred, Pascal, and Pirtle as a unit, because it's really cool to have a bench mob grown up as the starters now. And in some ways we could start the bench mob, new bench mob kind of thing. And it's not who you think it is. Scotty should start with them. It should be those 4 guys and Scotty. And then you have Gary off the bench because we've seen that Gary can score off the bench just as effectively, whether he's starting or not. And he can get just as many points and minutes if we really want to. Like if Gary's really killing it when he comes in off the bench, well, he could play like 30 plus minutes for the whole game and still get almost 40 points. It doesn't matter if he starts or not. Now, Precious is the same. He's shown a really good output off the bench already with Chris. And if he starts, he's been good also. But he's still young and he's still developing. And I value Scotty as a starter more. So I think that is the lineup we're going to settle on eventually very soon. That Pirtle's just going to have so many good intangibles and things from the start of the game that he will become our starting center legitimately. And I'm really here for it. So I think that's what I see happening, Jake. And it may not be exactly what Precious or Gary want, but the opportunities for them that will come down the road. And maybe Gary is not going to be a starter for us for the rest of the season, and he doesn't play for us after this offseason either, too. So I'm ready for anything. But that's how I look at this situation right now. It's just Jakob's very good. But the great thing is Jakob is not so egotistical that he has to start. I think it's just going to be that Nick's going to do it because it's his best chance to win. But he could be off the bench also. It could be either Gary or Precious getting that 5th start still. So we'll see. Blackhawk saying that was a terrible fall OG had. His entire weight came down on his arm. Would love to have OG back, but healing is more important. That's the thing. A lot of people want to speculate on OG being out right now as being something to do with him being disgruntled, like all these toxic, weird, fucking fake reports are. He once again, we're gonna hear the words come out of people's mouths and they come into your ear, and then you understand them. Well, OG's mouth's the one talking this time. And we heard him at the beginning of the season debunk Jake from State Farm's stupid ass report last summer. And then we heard Bob McCown do this shit a couple weeks ago. The same thing, same fucking report. Probably he's just old and he gets his news by like snail mail. That's why he's coming so late to Jake from State Farm's report. Or maybe it's David Thorpe continuing to bring up this OG thing in different places. Maybe David Thorpe is the whole cause of all the issues as far as Jake from State Farm last summer and Bob McCown getting on the radio out of pocket saying this shit. Well, as soon as Bob McCown said it on the radio, within days, OG debunked him also. So what I'm going to do with these OG rumors is just like go and listen to him, go and listen to his interview, go and hear the vibes on the team, go and hear how they're all best friends. And you tell me he's unhappy on this team. First of all, he doesn't care about his role as much as y'all think he does. He doesn't care about being more of a scorer. He doesn't want to be used more. He doesn't need more minutes. In fact, he's one of the guys that probably playing too many minutes when he's been playing. It's crazy because it doesn't fit his personality profile either. Some of the rumors about OG in the last year, they're just hilarious to me. You think he gives a shit about this? He's not selfish. He's at home. He obviously is very much Masai's like honorary son. And I don't get this, why he would be upset or why people think he's upset. It's such made up bullshit. And I think it's coming from David Thorpe. And that's why he's the big fuck you for today, David Thorpe. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. And this is the whole point of what Blackhawk's saying about OG's fall is like what instead of thinking it has something to do with like Thorpe's bullshit he's making up, it's legitimately the injury. Like the way he fell on his arm was backwards and like bent underneath him. And that impact that he hit the ground, it looked like that hurt like fuck. So even if the x-rays and certain things, they really want to make sure that he's right. And there may be some real issues with his wrist still that we don't know, that they're just not telling us. So it has to do with the wrist and the falling, because you saw that fall and you saw how crazy it looked. And Blackhawk is making a very important point on that. Jay Conn is saying, great work, Lex. Don't let the negativity get to you. You can't change stupid. We good. Let's go, Raptors. It's almost like, listen, Pensair, David Thorpe, all these other people that are pushing this shit out, that they're out there. We're actually on the plane with the team and sitting in the plane with the players, with the coaches, and with Masai. And we're listening to them. It's almost like that's how insider we are in the Raptor Freak channel compared to most of the Raptors Nation right now, is because we're on the same page with them. We're not on the same page with Pensair. We're not on the same page with David Thorpe. We're on the same page with Masai Ujiri. So you tell me whose page you want to be on in Raptors Nation right now. You want to be on David Thorpe's page? Go ahead. Be on David Thorpe's page. You want to be on Robert Pensair's page? You go ahead and be on Robert Pensair's page. I'm going to be on that flight, that private jet, flying with Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster and really knowing the inside and knowing what's going on, because I'm actually listening to them in the interviews. And I'm not listening to idiots that don't know what the fuck they're talking about out of their ass. And that's a big difference right there. Nako's saying winning the chip is paramount. If you're trying to win the chip, you trade JV. If you wanted to be better in Tampa or have an NBA center until recently, you keep JV. Yeah, Nako, I'm just going to say, Gerald, you're a good friend of mine. I love you to death. Just drop JV right now. It's old news. There's nothing to talk about with him right now. It's just not worth anything. It's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's like so dead. Like seriously, you're getting back in the Mesozoic period there or something like that. You're going way back. Mike's saying it's exactly what it is. The large rap fan base being taken advantage of by a fairy tale merchant. It's all about the clicks. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even have to be Raptors or sports related. It's politics. It could be all kinds of different aspects of our lives. There are nefarious forces out there that will prey on our fears to get us behind them. And I'm not all about that. I'm preying on y'all's wants to get more championships for the Raptors. If you ever want to see my intentions and what I'm trying to do, I'm not making no fucking money doing this. I don't care about the clicks. I could have 550 subscribers for 6 years and I could give a shit because I had the loyal just following of you guys. And that's all I care about. I don't care if I grow. I don't care if I get this. I don't care about that. The only thing I care about is getting more Larry O'Briens here in Toronto for the Raptors. And if you want to know my motives, there they are right there. I just told you. And this is, once again, the talking, it goes into your ear. You hear what I'm saying and you understand it. And that's what I'm telling y'all right now. And if you want to go and find out the motives of other people, what they're doing, well, let's like dig a little deep and see what their motives are. Maybe they want to get more money from their channel on their YouTube. Maybe they want a coaching job because they're trying to stir some shit up and they think, oh, Earl Watson will hire them after they get the coach Nick Nurse fired. There's motives out there that y'all may not know about. And mine. I'm very transparent and I'll put them right in front of you. G saying putting players on contracts makes them easier to trade and for salary matching. I'm not a trade every one person, but for those who are, players on contracts are much more valuable and get you more back. It's really smart. Like Masai's philosophy is invest in people and develop them and make value out of them. It's like in that open gym yesterday, Jamal's yelling at the players, we want to get your money value up, precious. We want to get you that bag. They're not trying to stop them from getting more money because they understand the more that these guys are worth, the more the team is worth more, and the more it's more attractive, the more we're more active in having assets on the trade market and being involved and getting good deals. So it's really like we're growing the best vegetables in our garden, and people are coming in and seeing it like, look at that squash. That looks so tasty. It's so big. How did they grow that so big? Man, they have such good gardening at the Raptors. It's shit like that. We want our guys to succeed and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. It's a huge part of our philosophy. So we're not trying to stifle them so we can pay them on the cheap. No, we want them to be as good as possible. Now, if those values exceed our salary cap and we cannot keep them all, well, these are the kind of problems the team wants to have because that means you have an overabundance of value and talent and you get to pick and choose who you want to keep. And that's a very, very powerful thing to have. And once again, G is really giving a good point that, a player on contract is much more valuable. And there's certain things that we do that we make value in our players inherently. And that in some ways it's just valuing them. The Knicks don't value players like we value them, and their players are not worth as much because they're not valued as much. It's really a part of your philosophy and how you do things. Let's see. La 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 la. I'm a fun guy saying we do believe in development, bro. Our team is young. The belief in development, although is not in 29-year-old Siakam and Fred. Don't think that's what front office is referring to as development. No, they do. They mean everybody. They mean everybody. They may not mean Thad as much. Sure, he's very much at the end of his career, and he's like near the end of his career. He's not going to learn a whole bunch of new stuff. But every single one of them up to Chris Boucher at 30, the second oldest player on our team. I'm not talking about Otto anymore, but Chris is still developing. In fact, in the last weeks, we've seen him blocking shots at the rim. I've never seen Chris Boucher be a shot blocker at the rim. I've seen him be at the three-point line. I've seen him kind of just block just casually, but he actually was challenging people coming at the rim and having success at blocking guys trying to dunk on our rim. That is a new development with Chris. He has not done that in his whole 6 years in the career, hardly at all. And that's what I'm saying. Old players, Pascal can develop further. Trust me. Fred can develop further. In fact, a lot of what Fred's going to develop is even more up here. He will become more and more savvy like Lowry. He will become more and more genius on the court with a basketball IQ that's so high that's continuously learning and taking in information and getting better and better. To think that these guys can't develop in their late 20s is crazy because players in the NBA develop right up until they're like 33 and they still have like 6 more years at least, some cases more, to develop even further. And I like I said, I explained a way that Pascal can get to a new level. If he can get better at clutch, if he can be a better player in the last 5 minutes a game, well, that's him developing into a new level of stratosphere of him being a really badass player in the NBA. So, yeah, I would say this, fun guy, you can develop all those guys still because I just explained it. Forgevo saying, today I'm praying to the sun god Ra. I love this. He's out in the farm with the cauldron in his sorcerer's robe, who is blessing my farm with warmth and energy this morning, that Nick and his loved ones find their way to health, if that is why the maestro is currently absent. I hope that he's not missing this game because of something like why Alvin missed the game the other night. I don't want our guys to be having losses in their family because somebody passed. And, this is the really bad timing, David Thorpe. If you're coming after Nick and he had somebody in his family die or a tragedy or something really sad happening, and that's why he's away from the team, that's going to be some fucked up shit. that you're coming in fucking with him in his career while he's away, and he has to go take care of something that may not be very happy or pleasant. Yeah, fuck you guys for coming after Nick today, and he's on personal leave because of personal reasons right now. We don't know why. And I hate this. I hate this whole situation. We'll find out why. And maybe some people will be feeling real guilty for coming for Nick Nurse's head on maybe the day that he had something really horrible happen to him this weekend. So, yeah, I'm praying for him and his family and blessings all around Nick Nurse right now and the whole Raptors family entirely also. Mike is saying, how old's Dermar? Didn't he grow a passing game in his 30s? Developing never ends for real ones. That's the thing. For some players, it does end. Some guys will come in the league and they'll be like, I'm already who I am. And they'll just be them for the whole entire time. They don't get any better. Well, that's part of what the formula for what Masai looks for is this guy going to be able to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and never stop growing? Because some guys may get to a point in their career and it's like, well, this is who I am. This is my bag of tricks, but not Pascal and Fred. And this is directly the legacy from DeMar. They came in as young players with Kyle and DeMar as their vets, and they saw DeMar work on stuff every offseason get better. Why do you think Pascal does this? DeMar taught him to do this, and that he's going to be like DeMar. Every single offseason, Pascal's going to return with some sort of new thing that he tried to work on the offseason. And some of them may have huge leaps and bounds, like when DeMar DeRozan returned with a three-point shot all of a sudden in the offseason one year. That really went my mind went, DeMar is shooting threes and he's making threes all of a sudden. This was never part of his MO. And one summer, he decided he wanted to start shooting threes. So he went and got good at it. Well, Siakam's done that too recently. He's trying to shoot threes and get better at threes also, much like DeMar DeRozan did in the past too. So, yeah, there's a lot to this, and it's the legacy of DeMar being followed by Fred and Pascal at this point. They're never going to stop learning, and this is why they're Raptors for life and why Masai values them, because they're developing guys that continue to develop no matter what age they are. Is really true. Blackhawk saying calling out for Nick Nurse doesn't mean he needs to be fired. It just means Nick Nurse has some areas to improve. Nick Nurse has made changes. Last few games, we have 9 deep off the bench, including Flynn. I think it's true. Like sometimes he seems like he reverts back to his old bad habits, and we see it show up in like really bad times, like Friday night in the fourth quarter. But more often than not, he is trying and innovating and doing different things. We've seen rotations recently in some games that have been very enjoyable and have worked really well. And it really is that meshing of the bench and the starters together in the different combinations, but never having too much of the bench out there at one time and having at least a couple of starters out there at all times to have an emergency valve of competency on the court in an offensive way. And that's just the smartest way for him to do it. He's got to mix and match both. He cannot have all bench all at one time, and he shouldn't be overplaying the starters so much. He should be finding bench minutes for the bench guys so that their numbers are all below 35 minutes at the end of the game. So, yeah, there's a recipe right there, Nick. Try and do it. Do the logic puzzle of our rotation and figure it out and get those bonuses for playing Jakob at the right times, for getting key stops down low, like in the fourth quarter last game. Ooh. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Just jumped on the chat. Scotty's going to be the face of this franchise. And if not, it's going to be the face of the NBA. And I'm so glad we didn't make a big trade. Yeah, I mean, seriously, if Masai really thinks that we needed more of a trade, he would have done more. I trust that, man. Just trust him. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Just tuning in. Happy about Wieskamp's pickup. Heard he used to play with Jakob, and they will soon demonstrate great chemistry, assuming Nick Nurse makes him play. Yeah, assuming that. No, it's really crazy. We do have a little bit of a Spurs contingency on our team now from a couple of years ago. It's not just Jakob. There was a point in time where Jakob, Juancho, Thad, and Joe were all on the Spurs at the same time. So Juancho, Jakob, Thad, and Joe are all kind of Spurs guys on our team all of a sudden. It's cool. And I think that's part of the reason why we have Joe around is because he is familiar with Jakob and Thad. He talked about in his interview yesterday. He's like, I love Thad. He's taught me so much already. He's such an open book. He taught me a lot in San Antonio already from when I was there with him then. And he talked very glowingly about Jakob. He's like, it's very enjoyable to play with Jakob. And as somebody who's probably ran around a screen from him and hit an open three, that's part of the reason why. So, yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's part of it. It was really much that. Fun guy saying, I just want us to be real. Nurse had Lowry, Siakam, Fred, Baines, OG, Boucher, Len, all older players in Tampa, and we can't blame Nurse. Come on, Lex. We gotta be real, man. We got Scotty, but Nurse failed. Where did he fail? Seriously, where has he failed? We've been on the up and up. He's a winning percentage record wise for most of his career as a coach. You know, he had one really bad year because of relocation. I'm sorry. You cannot tell me their roster and say that we failed in Tampa. You got to understand, these men were living out of their hotel and they didn't have a single home game the whole entire season that year. I'm sorry. You're poo pooing the Tampa effect, and it is a very huge thing. Trust me, it's a huge thing. Even when the New Orleans Pelicans could not play in New Orleans because of Katrina and they went to Houston, they did not go there the whole entire fucking season. They went there for a short period of time until they could turn around and come right back to their home arena. We spent a whole entire season and an entire year of our franchise in an alien city, in a city with fans that rooted for the other team, in an arena that's a hockey arena, and all kinds of different things. That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, listen, fun guy. No way, man. Tampa was a tough place, and we did as well as we could there. In fact, I think it was a huge success, and I'm not mad at Nurse for it. In fact, listen, they went through all kinds of crazy shit. Whether the whole team got COVID, all the coaches got COVID, and Sergio had to coach a game. There's a lot that happened that season that we weathered the storm and we made it through. So it's a huge success. I'm sorry, that's not a fail. Lesser franchises would have crumbled into dust if they had to go to Tampa like we did. So I'm just going to say that. G saying, fun guy. He was also directed at the end to not win. They rested Kyle Masai, said playing for what? They wanted a lottery pick. Can't use Tampa year to be. Yeah, Tampa is an aberration in all kinds of ways. It's not good to look at anything. And in fact, when people talk about Tampa as being a signifier or anything, I just laugh at them. As soon as somebody says that, and I'm sorry, fun guy, no disrespect. There's nothing in Tampa that's worthwhile pointing to as far as things with Nick Nurse and his coaching. And it's true that we were load managing the hell out of Kyle Lowry. He barely played in the last bit of his Toronto Raptors career because he was held out. And we were losing very much on purpose. He's exactly right. G saying, Masai called it Tampa Tank, and they got Scotty from it. And that's another reason why it was super successful. We would not have number 4 if we didn't go through Tampa. Top saying, I thought we should have gotten draft compensation for the Tampa season. We were on the road all season. It was a complete competitive disadvantage. It's totally true. And once again, the Raptors nation, the Raptors team, we take disadvantages left and right, and we don't whine and cry about it. We make it a part of what we have to overcome and make it have to deal with and just beat it. This is the same way for everybody in life. Not everybody starts from the same place in trying to be successful. And in some ways, we're not a privileged team in this league. The Celtics are a privileged team. The Lakers are a privileged team. They just, Lakers don't use advantage of it. They're not very good at it. They're like a rich kid that has everything for them, but they don't do anything with it. That's what I'm saying. There's an example of the phenomena of privilege in the NBA that we can point to. There's certain teams in the league that have privilege, and there's other teams that do not. And you can take those kind of things and apply them to individuals in society. Some people do have privilege to get further in life because they're set up and propped up to get help. And some people have the opposite. They have roadblocks. They have disadvantages. And that's what I'm saying. You can learn about life from the NBA about privilege. And that is a very good example right there. A very good example to explain somebody what privilege is. If they don't understand why somebody has privilege and somebody doesn't, well, there's an example that doesn't have anything to do with race or socioeconomics or anything like that. This has to do with basketball teams. And you can see it from the outside when you're on the middle of it and you're seeing, oh, this is a basketball team. But I get what he's saying. The Celtics get hand-holding to a degree while the Raptors have more roadblocks. And that is just like how it is for certain individuals in this world. Some people have a free pass and get everything easy handed to them. And some people have to work very, very hard to get everything that they get. And we're that person, unfortunately. But in some ways, that makes it all the worthwhile and makes us even more badass. Let's see. MK saying, if we fire Nick Nurse, another team will instantly fire their coach and hire Nick. That's exactly right. Charlotte Hornets would do it in a heartbeat. They don't care about Steve Clifford. He's just there to stand around while they're trying to figure shit out. Michael Jordan will hire Nick Nurse tomorrow if we fire him today. I'm going to say that right now. And in some ways, that is what I'm saying. There's other teams in this league that lust to have Nick Nurse coaching them, and they may be part of the noise that's trying to cause him to get shucked out of our team. And that's what I'm saying. You guys want to add to the voices of what is not good for us and get in that chorus and start echoing it even louder from within the Raptors nation? Well, you may be on the side of like somebody else who wants to get them. Like it may be that they can't get Emadoka back, that he just put his dick in too many people that is wrong, and that now he's not going to come back, and they don't really want Joe. And we fire Nick Nurse, and all of a sudden he's the coach of the Celtics next season. Does anybody want that? Does anybody want Casey kind of shit, Casey's revenge on the Celtics with Nick Nurse coaching them? Yeah, you fired Nick Nurse, you might just get that reality, you idiots. So you go ahead and get your torch. I'm not joining your angry mob. I am not, because I'm not going to be able to be pointed to and said, well, he was part of the people that wanted Nick out of here. No, I'm not going to be that person. You guys can go ahead and get if you get that, what you want. Oh, man, if it's horrible because of it, I'm going to blame all y'all is what I'm going to say. Yeah. Mike saying younger Siakam without the tight handle. OG with no handle. Fred still not leader. Lowry half there, not there. Baines was horrible defensively, speed-wise. Boucher was center still. Len has issues. Oh, he just gave us a laundry list of Tampa. Thank you, Mike. G saying if they listen to fans, we would have Simmons and Suggs. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's so good that we're not a populist organization, and then it's a vote. Oh, vote Raptor fans for what you want. Well, let's not listen to them because they're not educated and they don't know what they're fucking talking about. Obviously, we got Suggs instead of Barnes, and whoever's still holding out that we should have took Jalen Suggs, you're a fucking idiot. If you still think that getting Barnes over Suggs was a mistake, yeah, you need your head checked. Greg's here. The Gubstown Clink, an amazing Raptors channel on YouTube that has been putting out immaculate, amazing, produced quality stuff in the last couple of days. I am so happy to see the return of the Clink on the YouTube queue with many, many things getting dropped left and right. So check out the Gubstown Clink. Top of the morning, freaks. A lot of the losses can be attributed to Nick Nurse encouraging the selfishness as step in process equals good investment. Name a player who hasn't improved their reads and drives. That's the thing. Sometimes development and doing the right thing to build it right and to win later may have some losing as an outcome for a little while. But that doesn't mean that that's just statically how it is. Like everybody who just thinks our team is mid, you're crazy. We have studs on this team. We have amazing players, like really good athletes and really good skills. And in some ways, we have a complete team with Jakob on this team at this point. So I really get mystified when people call us mid. I know we've performed mid this season. That's very true. But this team is not mid. Trust me. If you're really looking at them closely, this is a good team, and they just got to figure a couple things out, and they're going to be fine. But yeah, I think this is part of it. Is like, Nick may be wanting to ride Pascal very heavy because he's seeing it in the long run as something that'll help out in the long run. And once again, we do not understand what he's doing exactly and his motives for what he's doing. In some ways, they may mystify us and make us like mad. But in some ways, as much as I say trust in Masai, we got to trust Nick because he is our coach and he is doing things in a certain way to build and develop our team. I watched Nick Nurse teach a course in Hungary last summer. It was like 7 hours of Nick Nurse talking to basketball coaches over there. And when I heard him speak and what he was saying, I was like, this dude is an awesome coach. He is so capable. He really knows what he's doing. He really, really knows coaching. In some ways, he's maybe one of the most knowledgeable, smartest coaches ever in the history of the game because his knowledge base comes from, and you can go look at Logical Raptors Fanatics channel about Nick Nurse's career. He has a very fantastic piece about all the different stops he had throughout his whole entire coaching career. And if you look at all the places he went, all the different kind of scenarios, everything, he's done it all. He really does know a lot about coaching from every different country he coached, every different kind of team, and he's had success everywhere he fucking went. That's the other thing that guys don't remember is that he won a D-League championship way long time ago. He's won in European leagues over in England and other countries. And much like Fred VanVleet, who was a winner at Wichita State and in high school, much like Gary Trent, who was a winner in high school and at Duke, We have winners on our team, and Nick Nurse has that pedigree as a coach. And we need to remember this. Put some respect on his name. Fun guy saying, "Oh, America." Okay, America making bioweapons on the borderline of Russia in a country that historically hates Russia is knowledge that's clearly lacking in the statement I just heard you say. Come on, bro. Well, all right. You know what my name is, fun guy? My name is Alexios. I'm Estonian. I'm from the Baltics, and I am for NATO. I am for Joe Biden. I am for Ukraine. And I will be no matter what, because my country was ran over and invaded by Russians historically throughout the history of time. There's probably about 5 or 6 times the Russians have come and just decided they wanted to fucking take my home country. So apologize for maybe you thinking I'm misinformed, but I have a very personal stake in hating the Russians and hating Putin and knowing that their imperialistic tactics are solely to blame for this problem that we're having with this war in Ukraine. That I don't fall for Putin's propaganda because I have family ties. My grandfather shot Russians because they were in our country. So you might want to check yourself, fun guy. I'm not going to waver on my support for Ukraine and getting the fucking Russians out of there. And I do not take that as an excuse for any kind of invasion. NATO is rightful and so to set up defenses against a very historic country that's been imperialistic and tried to just take over little countries around it at any given time. So forgive me for them putting some weapons on the border because there's a history of these assholes coming across it. So I stand with Putin. I know I stand with Biden. I stand with the Ukrainian president. I stand with the people of Ukraine and that nation. I stand with NATO because NATO is protecting my family in Estonia right now. NATO is the reason why the Royal Air Force of England is sitting in the runways of Estonia to keep Putin out of fucking turning that way and trying to come over and see my family's homeland. So excuse me for picking a side. And you thinking it's the wrong side? You tell me that's the wrong side now. I'm almost ready to get myself over there. I'm not married. I ain't got no kids. I'll fucking go over there and fight Putin and the fucking Russians myself. I've come this close to thinking about that. I'm like, Lex, you could run the Raptor Freak channel and cheer for the Raptors, or you could go over there and fucking fight for a cause that you fucking believe in, just like your grandfather did before you. That's what I'll say on that point, fun guy. I know we've been contentious at times recently. I do love you, man. You're my Mississauga big man out there. And I do really respect you. But to understand where I'm coming from on this is this what I just said right there. I'm from the Baltics. Fuck Russia. Fuck Putin. Fuck imperialism. You don't come into other people's countries and just try and take them over. We will kick you the ass out. And if we're a little country, they don't have a lot of help. Well, NATO is there to help us. So Ukraine being in NATO and everything like that happening, yes, I support NATO and I support Biden. I support the president of Ukraine and I support the people of Ukraine with these invaders. So there you go. Bam. Sorry. We can agree to disagree on this. I get my information from my family, not from Fox News, not from Russian propagandists. And there you have it. Bam. Canadian saying, true, MK. Lex, I think you should call Nurse and tell him that the true Raptor fans and Raptor freaks got your back and keep up the good work. All right, listen, I'm going to try and call him right now because Cowboy told me to real quick. All right. It's ringing. It's still ringing. It's still ringing. I don't think he's going to pick up, guys. I think this might have something to do with his personal issue. Hey, Nick, this is the Raptor Freak channel. We just want to let you know you have the full support of Raptor Freak Nation. And we're not a part of this noise that's calling for your head right now. Fuck David Thorpe, and we support you. And we trust in you. And we know you're going to get this right by the end of the season. And the real ones stand by you, all right? All right. Love you. And whatever you're dealing with, we have your back. And we're thinking about you. All right, bye. All right, there you go. There you go. Yeah, thank you, Bradley. I'm sorry I'm so amped up today. I really am amped up today. This whole report from David Thorpe has pissed me off. And now I'm talking about Ukraine. All right, fun guy saying, man, as much as I love y'all, it's really sad to see how far behind you are, but it's not your faults. It's attachments and not understanding in depth. Years y'all will look back and be shocked of lacking. I'm going to disagree with this. I'm going to say I can easily flip this on the other way and say that, the way y'all are acting, you're going to look back and see a second Larry O'Brien championship with the core that we have, with Nick Nurse still coaching it. And you can be like, fuck, I'm so glad that we didn't listen to ourselves. And the Raptor freak was right. We can go either way. Let's let time pass and we will figure out who's right in the end. I have a good track record with this. I'm going to tell you that right now, especially with this franchise, because I've had it under a microscope for a long, long time. And I really do kind of understand this animal called the Toronto Raptors. So we'll see. Let's let the time pass. And if you are more right, I will eat my words. And I'll say, you know what? We should have listened to Fun Guy. We were stupid to believe in our team and try and be positive. We should have been just as negative and doomsday and sad that our team's going nowhere, just like everybody told us to be. Yeah, okay. We'll see how it is in a couple years. And if you're right, I will honestly tell you were right. Seriously, I will. Greg saying, laugh out loud. Assuming Voldemort has not resurfaced here, forgive my ignorance, but he who shall not be named. That's Pensair. Yeah, Greg, we have a swear jar because he was becoming. People wanted to bring him up in this chat too much in recent months, and I hate him. I don't want to talk about him. In fact, we're going to be the opposites. He's him, and I'm me, and we're at two opposite ends of Raptors Nation. We are not anything to do with each other. In fact, I wrote Robert Misovich out of my life a couple years ago when he started his bullshit with Fred up. Talking some shit. This is just bullshit. That's who it is. The antithesis of me. Yeah, this is what we're doing. That's who it is. We're calling him he who shall not be named. If we talk about him too much, there's a swear jar that we have to put money into because we brought him up. So yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's what it is, Greg. No, it's fine. We'll tell you straight up who it is. It's the only reason why we call him that is because we don't want to put his name out there too much. I'm saying his name today, so it doesn't matter. G saying, far behind in what way? Do you think we have any control over front office? Masai makes baby steps until they are ready to contend. He looks at flaws step by step. We have zero control. Exactly. And that's the thing. Today's culture, everybody is so instant gratification. It's because of our phones. It's because of dating sites. It's because of all this stuff you can get really quick. DoorDash, boom. I'm going to get some coffee right now. Boom, instant gratification. It doesn't apply to the NBA. Fan nation. I'm sorry, Raptors nation. As much as you want instant gratification with the team winning all of a sudden and doing this, you got to take your lumps and embrace the suck, as Adrian Griffin put it yesterday. Things suck right now, but embrace it, because in some ways you build your character during the hard times when the suck is happening. So embrace the suck, even though that sounds very sexual and weird, as Adrian put it. But I'm just saying, it's like, you guys don't really understand what it takes to really build a good team and keep it going. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes winning and losing. It takes mistakes and good things. It takes everything all at once. And y'all just want everything so quick that you're not realistic. And when you build a team or you try and run a team like y'all's mindset, you make fuck ups left and right. You become the New York Knicks. That's what I'm trying to explain to y'all. That Masai being the steady hand on the ship of the Raptors and being patient and letting it run its course is way more healthy and smart for the whole team and its success over the long run than fucking throwing people out left and right because you think they're a failure in the short term all of a sudden, where you didn't even let them have a chance to get around to the good stuff. And that's the difference, is what I'm saying right now. Building a good thing takes time. It's not an instant cake. You can't just make it in an hour. You've got to take time. This isn't a microwave. This is like a slow roasting pig roast where you got that pig over that roast maybe for 8 or 9 hours on that Saturday. You're not going to the microwave, hitting 2 minutes and getting a pizza pop. I'm sorry. That's not how you make an NBA team. So you fucking go and see that pig is roasting. It smells good. It smells real good. You know what a pig smells like on a spit? That pig smells so good. So let that pig continue to turn on the roast as it should be, the time it takes to make that meat taste so juicy and good. So why do you want to take my pig off the pig roast or get rid of the pig and go trade it in for a pizza pop in the microwave? Fuck that shit. Man, I'm going in weird places today. Holy crap. I was just like, that is a weird one. It does just come off the top of my head. I don't write any of this down. You know that. I don't know where the fuck it comes from. Some weird place in my head. Oh my gosh. Cool Cat saying, okay, Raptor Freak, I will watch the Saturday stream. I see Nick's name floating around. Yak and Skills, also Salt and Pepper. Which nickname do you guys prefer? We need a consistent number 2 with Pascal. No one has claimed it. Wow, there's a lot in there, Cool Cat. And I like what you're saying. I like Yak and Skills. I think I like that a little bit more. Salt and pepper, it's okay. I mean, it's kind of playing off their skin tone, obviously. And in some ways, I don't totally like that, but I get it. It's kind of easy and simple. Ebony and Ivory, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, whatever. I like Yak and Skills because I think it doesn't really like play on that kind of aspect of their friendship. And that's just me being completely blunt and open about it. And it's not that I don't see race. It's just that if you don't need to point it out, then why do it? Let's see. As far as the number two, consistent number two, yeah, that's honestly that's a revolving carousel, and maybe that is something that we need to suss out. We said that maybe this team is too ambiguous with not having roles defined. Well, Cool Cat's saying, well, maybe we need to define a definitive number two behind Pascal. I mean, in some ways that is really Fred, but in some ways it does sometimes look like it's Gary, or it may be Scotty at times, or OG when he's healthy. So I don't know. Do we really need a definitive define two? Maybe, because it may help the organization of the team as far as like what the responsibilities and duties are, and who the order of who's going to step up if Pascal's not stepping up. And in some ways, I think Scotty should be this because he's going to be maybe the number one in the years to come anyway, and overpass Pascal and be more like Kawhi with Pascal next to him. So in some ways, that's the way I kind of look at that situation. But this is good to think about this because this may be part of the roles we need to define to just get better cohesion and smart, knowing what we're doing on the court because it's been put out there. Let's see. Mike's saying fake news by me. The NBA wanted to punish the Raptors for not taking guys to teams that they prize. Clearly, just kidding, but funny. Mike, I wouldn't put it past them. They may be very upset with Masai about this trade deadline. They may hear all the noise about OG Anunoby, and they're like, yes, Raptors, trade OG. You must trade him. You saw Phoenix trade Mikal Bridges, and even though their fans didn't want that. Yes, we want you to lose OG. And when Masai was defiant and he did what he did, maybe they were pissed off and they sent Eric Lewis to Toronto for a hit job against Utah. That I don't know. I mean, listen, they want to extrapolate and just make up shit on their side. I could make up this shit. It's plausible. Why not? There's a dark Illuminati in the NBA that punishes people like Chris Paul gets punished by Scott Foster. There's some credible evidence of this. Let's see. Shane Waters is saying that ref hit job got worse when Nick Nurse didn't call a timeout. Ignore them refs when they're being shysters. Raps let them into their heads too much. Ignore them like a crazy ex. Shane Waters, you go West Coast. Raptor freaks holding it down in BC. That is a haven of positivity for the Raptors nation over there because I know Tom Duke, Joseph Starks, and Shane Waters ain't buying all this bullshit right now. Thank you, West Coast Raptor freaks, for holding it down on the West Coast. Let's check in with Ottawa. The benevolent Isaac Campbell is here. Jakob himself used salt and pepper the other day on a video he had posted on Facebook. So damn pleased he came back. Yeah, I did see him post that, but he didn't make that up. He was reposting somebody else posting that. And I think it was the Raptors account that put that up, salt and pepper. So, but he did endorse it by posting it again. I love M. Jones has come with the Eagles. The Eagles are so important. Joe Wieskamp brought them up in his interview yesterday. He said, I know coming to this team, one of the important things is Eagles. I'll come here and make the shots because that's what they want me to do, but also Eagles. That's what Joe said yesterday. He says, I'm going to come here to make the shots because I know that's what they want. They want me to space the floor and make the shots, Joey W. Joe Wieskamp. And then he said, I'm going to do Eagles too. He said, Eagles. Yeah, I love the Eagles. MSJ saying we all have to wait on what this trade will actually do for the team. That's right. Once again, instant gratification. Oh, y'all figured it out already instantly. Well, let's see how this thing cooks. That pig is on that spit roast and it smells good to me. Maybe it doesn't smell good to all y'all. Maybe you think it smells like shit. That pig smells good to me. And you know what? When you taste it, you might like it. Yeah, you may think it smells bad right now, but when you taste it, when it's ready, you may be like, this pig is actually good. I should have listened to Masai and Lexi. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let's see. Top saying, I like the Wieskamp pickup. I know. More three-point shooting. What's not like to like. Just play him, Nick. Like, this is where I'll come after you, Nick. You better play Joe Wieskamp at sometimes. Maybe you use him in a situation like you would Matt Thomas a couple years ago. You just need a little extra three-point shooting out of the court. You wouldn't call Matt Thomas. You let Matt Thomas come and play for the Raptors at times. I think you got a taller Joe Wieskamp. You maybe should give him minutes a little bit like you did Matt Thomas back in the day. I know that team wasn't as good and you had to play Matt Thomas, but you very much used Matt Thomas for situational three-point reasons. So why can't you do this with Joe Wieskamp for the rest of the season? I'd like to see this, Nick. And he already has some experience running around a yak-up screen. So we can do this. Blackhawks saying front office has to spend to compensate players staying with Toronto. There has never been a free agent signing from a non-Raptors player. Therefore, Masai has to leverage drafts and trades. We all need to calm down. That's right. What works for other franchises in other sports? Like somebody tried to compare the Edmonton Oilers and what they're doing is what the Raptors need to do. Bullshit, motherfucker. They're blowing up and they're a horrible team in the NHL. There ain't nothing to do with the Oilers for us to learn. No. Every single team in the league deals with different things. Being the only Canadian team and certain things, we've had to adjust how we build our team for our own style. And our style is not like anybody else's style. In some ways, us trading the picks to San Antonio helps their style because that's what they do. But the picks are not valued in our style. We have a very specific style. And this is Masai and Bobby continuing to follow that style. And that's why people are so pissed off. They want more trade picks. They want all this. That's not our MO. That's not our details or description of who we are as a front office. And Blackhawks really kind of illustrating it here about our problems with getting a good big free agent name in the offseason. We can't rely on that. So we have other things we've relied on. Our development and really valuing our guys once again and building into commodities and things that everybody wants. Well, that's why we were the belle of the ball at the trade deadline. Because we build the way we are, because we are the way we are. We're not the Knicks. We're not the Spurs. We're not other teams that are switching things out, and they don't build as much value in their players as we do. And that's why everybody was after us this trade deadline. So the strategy of the front office of the Raptors is different than most strategies in the NBA, and our nation needs to get used to this. And also understand this is the characteristics. Once again, Masai says something, Bobby says something, Nick says something. Listen to their words, go into the ear, and let that be what you're hearing. And you'll understand exactly why we do the things the way that we do. It's part of our strategy and how we've been for a long time. And I don't want to change course on that. Why would we rip that out and try and do things differently? Because in a lot of ways, it's working. It's very, very much working because we're building value for our team continually and our players getting better. Mike saying Wieskamp is interesting. Masai has been looking to make a Danny Green-like player for the bench. Champagne in time could have been in that mold with the Rodman rebounding. Joe fits the current timeline. One of the things about Joe Wieskamp that's underrated that nobody realizes, he's a very good rebounder. He's not like a 6'4" guy. He's like 6'6". He's not that far off from fitting in Division 6'9". He fits in it as much as Gary Trent Jr. does. And he's a very go after it, get it. He's not the most athletic guy, but he has a lot of energy and heart and hustle, and he works hard. And he's not a bad defender because he works so hard. He may not have the most athletic gifts, but he's one of those guys that aren't going to hurt you because he didn't try. So there you go. I like Joe. I like him a lot, and I do want to see him play more. G saying, I predicted the 2019 chip as well. I just knew it. It was the right recipe and timing. Never thought it before that year. That's how I knew. I wasn't totally sure about it. I started to think about it in January of 2019. But then when we made the Gasol trade, I said, slam dunk, Larry O'Brien, welcome home. And then in April, when they had an event at DuPont Street, bringing the NBA championship here, it was like a pop-up event for the NBA. And they had the Larry O'Brien on tour. I went and saw the Larry O'Brien on 4/20 of 2019. And I said, you're going to be coming back here. And I know it. For some reason, I said it to the trophy at that time. And when I went and met it, I met it before we won. I went and took a picture of myself with the Larry O'Brien trophy before we won it. And the other thing that happened at that event was they were making custom jerseys, and they had all the teams in the NBA, and you could get the little championship emblem on jerseys of teams that had won the championship. So I came up to the girl behind the counter and I said, I want to get this Raptors with the championship on it. And she said, no, you can't, because the Raptors have never won a championship. You can only get the championship emblem on teams that have won a championship. I'm like, okay, well, hold that thought. And then 4 months later, I was able to get that jersey. So this is what I'm saying, y'all. You can believe and be like that. But for some reason, I have foresight. And I did see the championship coming when it did. And that's what I'm saying. You can believe whoever you want. I do have a little bit of seer in me, and there is a little bit of Nostradamus. But then you add in the basketball knowledge, then that's what I'm saying. I see trends and I see things that are happening. And 2019, I saw it before it came. Let's see. And so did G. I like it. David's saying, championship, let's get it. That's right. That's all we're about. We're not playing to just fuck around. We're playing to get Larry O'Brien's. We really are. MSJ saying some of the YouTuber spaces are not safe spaces. Laugh out loud. To take anyone coming to you through a screen personal is the wrong approach. 2D people say things they would never in 3D. Yeah, I agree with this. There's a lot of people that speak out of pocket online in different ways, keyboard warriors. And they'll just say whatever the fuck because there's no repercussions. They're untouchable. Well, I have an outstanding thing that I will say this. I have two different challenges. First of all, any YouTuber, any expert of the Raptors, anybody who's out there, if you think you can play basketball better than me, I'll fucking play you one-on-one and I'll kick your ass. That's the first challenge I'll make. The second challenge I'll make is if you think I'm saying anything out of pocket on here through the screen to anybody, I'll meet you in person and say it to your fucking face too. So there you go. Those are the two things from me personally. I don't know if anybody else is doing content has those same rules or challenges or things that they'll do, but that's true. If y'all don't think I know what I'm talking about or I don't know about basketball, put me on a court and play me one-on-one and we'll see what happens. And if you don't like what I'm saying and you think I wouldn't say it to your face, well, then we'll meet somewhere downtown and I'll say it to your face still. So that's how I get around that, MSJ. Because I don't want to be a troll online. I don't want to be out of pocket and say shit that I can't back up. And I do say a lot of shit. I have today. Isaac's saying they signed a traditional center to evaluate interior presence. They signed Joe to evaluate spacing on the impact of having a steady three-pointer shooting. That's how you evaluate. Raptors news over Fox News. That's right. We got to understand in Raptors Nation, there's Fox News contingencies in our news sources. That, you know, as much as Fox News causes all kinds of confusion and stupid ass shit in the States and politics, you know, there's people that make content in our Raptors Nation that do the very same effect. And that's why we need to suss out the Fox Newses of our Raptors Nation and understand them. And then you'll know. If anything, I'm like this weird positive Fox News for them. Sure, I'm a propagandist. Sure, I'm very biased. But at least you know what I'm biased for and what I care about. And maybe it lines up with you because you're a real one also. So Fun Guy saying, I'm sorry, but you guys are trying to feed me a positivity and optimism as real things or solutions. It doesn't exist. Masai said that and got a center. If that doesn't work, they blow it up. That's life. I don't think they blow it up completely. Now, all right, I'm going to take this in two parts, Fun Guy. The last part, if it doesn't work, they will make some changes. And it really, honestly, this is what might be. Either he might fire Bobby or Nick, maybe. He may get rid of like one or two of our core guys, but he won't get rid of more than that. There's no thing as such as a blow up. As I said just a little while ago, you blow up this team, it's a really fucking big mistake because you've established and accrued so much stuff in 15 years. That if you blow the team up right now, you're going to lose everything that DeMar and Kyle built. And I'm not about that. You want to keep this going because this culture and this core is important. You just tweak it. You don't completely tear it down. Now, as far as the thing about feeding positivity and optimism, well, there's two sides of the coin. You know, you can live your life in a negative aspect and think about life as being negative. Everybody's out to get you, and you will get that. If you want to think of, oh, this person is not my friend, this is my enemy, you will have more of that energy around you. Your perception is so fucking powerful, Fun Guy. In fact, you may want to utilize the power of perception because it could change your life overnight because you're looking at things in a more positive way. That's why I'm saying I know because I was a very negative youngster. In my 20s, I was negative, and I saw the worst in everything. And I was horrible and miserable. Well, when you look at negative things, you get more negative things, and life just becomes more negative. So forgive me for wanting to go in the other direction by looking at the positives. Because when you do look at the positives, you look at everybody as your friend, people are out there to help you instead of hurt you. You know what happens? You see that more, and it happens more in your life. This is a real life skill that can change people's lives in a day. If they can just use the power of positivity a little bit more in their life, more opportunities open up. They have more help. They have more support. They have more people around them that are actually really good. Because if you just see the negative, you attract what you see, is what I'm saying. So forgive me for trying to be positive and optimistic because I want to have a happy life. If I wanted to be negative and unhappy, I would go in that way. But I have seen the wiseness in being a power of positivity and the outcome it happens in my life with the good, great, amazing things that happen in my life because I've been positive. So that's what I'm saying. This doesn't even have to do with the Raptors. This just has to do with basic life skills and living a happier life. So forgive me on that. I'm not saying you can't be negative and you can't be jaded and you can't be critical and you can't have like issues. But the more you balance more positivity in your life in relation to the negativity, the happier you'll be. Just trust me. It is true. And it's 100% every single time for every single individual in this world. It doesn't matter who you are. You can use this and you will get results. Seriously. When you catch your mind, the way your mind thinks, it's your own thoughts in your head. You hear your voice in your head. Now, if you hear your voice and it's saying something that's not really helpful, like it could be kind of like the situation with the Raptors and David Thorpe, that's not helpful. Well, if you hear that kind of talk in your head, like, and it's like, not, this isn't helpful for to me. It's kind of detrimental. It's kind of putting me down in my own head. It's hurting my confidence. Well, recognize that voice and say, I don't want to have that voice in my head anymore. And you may find that you have more power over it than you think. It's really being aware of your voice in your head. Is it a positive voice or a negative voice? Your self-talk. It's all involved. And you can change your life real quick like that. G saying, I think you're missing the point, fun guy. He got a center, so let's see how that plays out. To pretend we know exactly what's going to happen and get angry about it makes no sense. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this. And that's why people are preemptively deciding our trade deadline's been a failure and that we're in bad shape. They don't know. Give it a chance. Seriously. G saying once he sees the flaws with the center, he makes another move. To make a bunch of moves and hope it works isn't an answer either. How do you know the flaws with Jakob without seeing it first? We already know the flaws with Jakob because we're very familiar with them, and they're things we can cover up. Mike's saying, "Fun guy, I swear, I saying real things that are very real. The open gym review I did was pretty much confirmed by this week's open gym. We have a lot of great things happening and that are right." I know it's other forces that want to paint us as a dysfunctional, bad franchise and that we're a really bad place. In a lot of ways, that's not true. And this is really at the crux of what I was just talking about, the power of positivity in your own head or negativity. We could look at all the different things about our team and say, oh, we're in such a bad place. We need to tear it down. We're horrible. We're mid. Or we could say, look, we've got this stud Scotty. We got this stud Precious. We got Pascal still. We got OG. We got so many good things about our team and build up the goodness and thinking like, wow, we actually have a lot of good things. Because sometimes, somebody may be dating somebody who's out of their league and very attractive and they don't really appreciate it enough. And then all of a sudden they're treating them like shit and they've left them. So that's what I'm saying. We need to take time to have gratitude for the really good shit that we have, which is Masai Ujiri, Nick Nurse, and the players that play for us. We should be grateful and have gratitude. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's all in positive mindset. And it's like, I'm just thankful that we have such high caliber, great athletes on this team. In fact, this team right now has the most talent on it than any team ever. It may not have the most experience and the most veteran to do like what the 2019 had. But I think that this team has the most talent overall than any Raptor team that we've ever had. Ever, because Jakob just showed up. This is the most talented Raptors team ever. Seriously, it may not show the results right now, but I believe in them, and I believe they are, just like Masai. Let's see. Mike saying, oh yeah, he said, I read that one. Cowboy saying, Jakob was great pickup. This will help Precious and Coloco's development. Let's go Raptors. I love that. MSJ saying, I remember Jamal Magloire at JCC in 1994, I think. But is the Linsmore Tavern still operating in your area? Linsmore Tavern, I've heard that name. Where is it exactly? I wanted Real Jerk because I really like their food. And like I said, they're independent and stuff like that. I don't know. The place could be debatable. There's a couple places around where I am. I'm in Leslieville. So somewhere over here in East York around Leslieville should be okay. Anywhere from Danforth over to like Coxwell to like Broadview down to Queen. That pretty much is the square where I'll go to as far as different places. My old hangout used to be Eulaley's, but I haven't been there in years. But yeah, I want to make the Real Jerk my new hangout. There's vibes about that place. And on Thursdays, they have karaoke. So we could go down there, watch the Raptors game, and I may even get up there and sing some songs in the middle of the game. Duke saying, how long before OG is back? I don't know. There's no timetable, and they're not really giving us any updates on exactly what the timetable is. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure he'll be back sooner than we think, hopefully. Mike's saying everyone went crazy with deadline stuff. I made a video about Joe W. and a video on Pirtle. That wasn't by accident. Not gonna lie. Those are the realistic options based on knowing and understanding Masai's plan and the way he does things. I like it. Fiercely saying I was looking at various Raptors related content last year, and he who shall not be named always came up as a negative source. Hence why I never tuned in. Oh man, it jumped again. And I do see there's a lot here. I still got a lot to do as far as today. And that game for the 9 to 5 is going to start in less than an hour, too. I will make sure I get no more comments, y'all. I'm going to catch up for the day and we'll finish it up. I was okay. He always came up as negative source, hence why I never tuned in, riding with the team no matter what. That's right. Fiercely Salsera is a real one. Twitch family, Scotty Barnes. Fiercely Salsera, a real Raptor freak, a real one that rides with the team in a positive way. I love that. Shane saying, yes, defense wins championships. 2019 chip proved that. 3 defensive players, 6 all defensive players, and OG who didn't even play. Yeah, that's a good resume right there, Shane, for a great defensive team. And that 2019 was stacked. 2019 was badass. Logical saying Masai has been very, very clear from the start and how he planned to build this culture, and he cares a lot about having a winning culture and development culture. Logic can be used to see how things go. That's what I'm saying. The reason why players, Nick Nurse, Masai Ujiri are upset and unhappy is because our culture is not being fulfilled right now. It has nothing to do with anybody else they're pissed off at or finger pointing or mad at what they're not doing. They don't like that the culture of the Raptors is not happening right now, and they want to get it back. And that is really a shared anger that they all have together and not against each other. Fun guy saying Masai definitely wants to win. Everybody knows that. That's all he talks about. Point is, you're not winning. That's where the problem arises. Masai trying to change that, and there's a limit to that. Well, you can't just win all the time. Seriously, there's ups and downs with franchises in the NBA. You could be very much on top for a while, and you'll go down low for a little while. It's the ebbs and flows of it. It's just that Masai's trying to get the surfboard right so you can get up on that wave and get up and grab those Larry O'Briens. And some people may think, well, this team doesn't seem like it is the kind of team that can go win a championship compared to everything. I don't believe you guys. I think it is. And it's just that we trust and believe in young Scott Wayne. And you're going to see it. It's going to come up. Now, we're not winning right now. That's true. But don't gauge everything for the long term on the short term. Let's just put it that way. G's saying true, but he also acknowledged that he didn't get them a center for 3 years, so he isn't expecting them to overcome his own mistake either. That is why I think he's giving them a leash. He's giving them all a leash. Summerlow, David Thorpe said this. He said a couple of things. He said that Masai should fire Nick Nurse today and replace him with Earl Watson. He said that the problems on the team are Fred and OG, that they are being selfish, and that they both need to leave also. And that's basically what he said. He said that they should fire Nick today. He said that yesterday on his podcast, and that the problems on the team are OG and Fred. He specifically named them, and that they need to go also. He basically told the Raptors franchise they won't do anything good until we get rid of Nick, Fred, and OG. That's what he said. And a lot of people are echoing him and trying to chime in. Now, his criticism of Nick, I can get behind. But as soon as he started talking about Fred VanVleet and OG, I'm like, bro, you're overstepping. You may have a connection to Nick Masai Ujiri from before and helping him get into the league, but you're not helping him now, and you're probably getting your card ripped out of his Rolodex. He's probably like, you're going to be dead to me, David, because you're talking shit about my team and making my job harder by bringing my players' names into your mouth and saying out-of-pocket shit that does not line up with the reality of what actually is happening on the ground. You know, he can start this tabloid gossip kind of shit on his podcast, but it's dangerous and tough for our team because the noise, it gets picked up like a baton in a relay race and ran around by idiots in our Raptors nation who put it even further on blast. And that's what we're dealing with today is the fallout from his stupid ass podcast yesterday when I cussed him out good, Summer. So if you want to hear it, started at the beginning because I started with it. And I have fire today. I have some hot fire coming out of my mouth today. I'm spitting hot fire. Yes. Race Mode saying, I think a lot of the hate is coming from disgruntled bandwagon casuals who never watched the Raptors before 2019. The media should be ashamed. I've shut off all except for 2 channels. I know which one is one of them is this one right here. And I'm pretty sure the other one is a man named Chef who lives in New York. Yeah, Race Mode, you go, Edmund and family. Race Mode is just one of the coolest Raptor freaks. We love you. And I think that he's very astute in what he's perceiving here. that a lot of the Johnny come latelys are probably the loudest whiners about the losing recently. And they're just so used to the standard of winning in the Raptors since the championship that they don't understand basketball and the ebbs and flows. And that's what I'm trying to say. And thank you, Edmund, for painting this picture, because I think you might be right. We could do a survey and we could really find out the true age on Raptor fandom and each individual who's talking out there. Like if we could see their name, instead of their name, it said been watching the Raptors since 2019, then we'll get an assessment of why they're saying what they're saying. I wish we could see all that and just know ahead of time. But and sometimes they you find out just from talking to them a little bit. Oh, I get it. You're a Johnny come lately. And this makes way more sense. Fun guy saying, by the way, Lex, I think you got to watch a lot more Panzer. I really don't. I don't think you and him are far off, actually. I hear the same type of sentiments. I think you wrote him off some hearsay. No, I didn't. I didn't even write him off because of his YouTube channel. I wrote him off on Facebook when I was interacting with him on Facebook Raptor groups. He came out with a post a couple years ago about Fred being in a 905 game and not signing autographs. He wrote all this shit about Fred being an awful person. And I was like, why are you doing this? I'm like, are you a fan of this team? And this does not sound like Fred. It was like he was slandering him. And it pissed me off so bad. And is part of the reason why I started this channel is him specifically, because I saw how much bullshit he was putting out there. And I was like, you know what? I need to counterbalance this shit. So he's very much the antithesis of me. In fact, King and Skip, for To The Point and their YouTube channel, tried to pair me up with him on an appearance on there because they wanted to see these fireworks fly. And I refused to appear on the show with him. I blocked him on Facebook. I have nothing to do with him on Facebook because everything he does is garbage. And I've heard more about him. He's come into this channel and talked a little bit with us here. There's a couple of channels where he showed up and we had it a little bit out. And I think I did block him. And then I blocked one of his little follower guys who came in later, Bates and Arts. So yeah, there's been interaction with me and him. I don't care what he's saying. I don't have enough time in my life to go and watch any old content makers because there's not a lot of time all the time. And you want to save time for the ones that are good, like maybe hopefully me. But I'm just saying, I have no time to waste time watching him. I don't care what he has to say. And I don't want to rip off his takes, even if we're similar in some ways. Is why I don't watch the Raptors Digest kids. I don't watch Luca. I don't watch Raptors Republic stuff for the most part. I watch my friends' stuff from Raptors Republic, like Confederacy of Dunks. Freddie Rivas is a good friend of mine. I'll listen to Raptors talking Raptors because I love those guys and they're entertaining and they really are real ones. They really care about this team. And I trust Nick Reynoldson and Barry Taylor. But most content makers for the Raptors, I don't even watch the Raptors show. And it's partly because Will Lou pisses me off to a degree, just like Monique. And so it's like you really want to suss it out. I want nothing to do with him. He's proven over and over again that he's a problem, and I don't value his opinion. I think he's full of shit. So yeah, you're not going to get me there. I've already been very familiar with him and what he does, and that's because I know him as Robert Misovich, not Panzer. So there you go. Monique said, I definitely want to be Lindsey Dunn, Samson Folk, and Alex Wong's page, the cool people. Yeah, Monique is right. And those are great names. You can go either way. Aaron Rose, you are on the fence, bro. You have been good at times, and I really enjoy some of the things you do. You're very good, timely reporting, and you are a great source for me right now. You and Josh Lewenberg are probably my two favorite sources to get Raptors information from. But you get too much into the trade stuff, and that's really annoying to me. Like the question you had for Scotty Barnes the other day about the trade deadline was so stupid. Like who watches the trade deadline like they're a fan of it? Nobody gives a shit about the trade deadline except for idiots that like the NBA for the wrong reasons. The fans that like the trade deadline tells me something about it already. People that get excited about the trade deadline are not really like basketball fans because that's not a thing. In the decades before the current era, nobody gave a shit about the trade deadline. It was something for GMs and them to have and sort out. It's really the internet and newer basketball fans that make a big deal out of it. So Aaron Rose, you could go either way. You could either go into that pile with Michael Grange and fucking Doug Smith and those assholes, or you could come and be with Samson Folk, Lindsey Dunn, Alex Wong, Warren Weisfeld. He's another one that I put in the good camp for the most part. Blake Murphy. You can choose Aaron Rose. If you want to use your abilities for good or bad, really think about what you're doing because I've seen you do both. You've been very good and you've been very bad at times also. G saying Pensier lies though. He said Fred's camp leaked the Masai meeting Scotty story. I can go on. Said Pascal's assists are selfish, while Scotty's are elite. Guaranteed Scotty would have Pascal's stats. Yeah, I don't line up with him, man. You may think I line up with him, but I don't. And in fact, if I did do an appearance with him or did do stuff with him, you might see me cuss him out. That's why I'm not allowed on Skip and the King anymore. I cuss Skip out. I have no filter. I will fucking cuss a motherfucker out if they're talking about the Raptors out of pocket. I will cuss them out right to their face. I do it in person. I don't give a shit. I'll throw hands over the Raptors. I am passionate about them. And if you're sullying the Raptors in any kind of way around me and I hear it, I might get in your face. Seriously, I'm not crazy. Let's see. Mike saying, yes, that's what's about. Remove roadblocks in the way and get more money and turn everything into wins. That's pure mess of what Masai wants. The mission is to get everybody more loot. And if we can't afford them, well, we make the tough decisions and we make the very best ones stay. And the ones that are kind of borderline, well, they can go and they can be successful and be very good on other teams. So I like that. Denal saying, I'm late, but Masai said exactly what I've been saying. You aren't developing guys on the bench, and guys been selfish. Belichick was tough on guys in practice, but he always played every guy in games. Well, Belichick's in football, and that's a little bit different. You can figure out a way to get everybody in there. Basketball is very different. And Nick really is taking that premium squeeze lemonade approach that he has a couple years now, that he really wants his best possible line out as much as possible. And I don't agree with it completely, and I'm with you guys on this. But I'm not taking that from what Masai said more than I'm saying that he likes the job that Nick's doing, and he's really happy with him. That's what I'm looking at more. But within that interview, he was critical of Nick, and he does want him to develop guys like Delano and Malachi more. He did say that. So in some ways, that's a nod to us saying, yes, I have your concerns, Raptors Nation, and I am addressing them to the coach. And hopefully he's hearing me, and we'll see results. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what is not to like about what Masai said? Even you people that think we're going the wrong direction, he's laid it out the level of accountability in the organization with the players and with the coach, and that he's watching them and assessing them. And in the summer, he will make judgments according to what he has assessed. So that's a whole lot of it right there. Y'all are just getting ahead. You want to make the decisions for him before he's actually assessed everything. Nameless saying 50 people in the stream right now. Go ahead and drop a like. People show that appreciation. Thank you, Nameless. I appreciate you. Buongiorno. Jason Williams is here. Are you white chocolate? Man, you could really dribble, bro. You had such a good handle, bro. And you with Chris Webber and Doug Christie. Damn, Jason Williams. Yeah. I hate the Florida Gators, but I actually like you. Scotty's passes are elite. Gee, what's the problem? No problem with Scotty's passes are badass. I love them too. I just don't want him to throw those no looks if he doesn't have to. It's one thing for a misdirection if he wants to do it because he's really good at making them confused and not knowing where the ball is because of misdirection. But if it's not necessary to do, Scott, and this may be part of you maturing as a player in the NBA, is don't put the flash in if you don't have to. Be fundamentally sound and make sure concretely your percentage chance of making that pass good happens. Because you didn't do a no look when it didn't matter. You can do the no look when it matters and you really throw them off and you get the ball misdirected to somebody they didn't think was going to. But don't do the no look when you don't have to. It's not necessary. There's a couple of things you do that aren't fundamentally good. But I know that signature look back when you're about to dunk, that's just part of what you want to do. We'll give you that one at least, even though I hate it. And it's going to get us to have a fuck up at some point because you have to turn around and look at the guy before you dunk it. It's silly, and in some ways, Scott, I love you for it, but in some ways also it really makes me mad. All right, G saying, okay, and Pascal is selfish. I mean, that's what they're trying to say. It's like, look, you want to paint these guys as different things. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you can go and look at other NBA teams and look at the makeups and different people on those teams, and you will find a way higher level of selfishness among those teams on the whole. Listen, the Raptors are not a selfish team. They may have played selfishly for times on the court, and that has hurt us, and that is what Masai is talking about. But he knows they can play unselfishly, and he just wants them to get more back to that. You know, it's not that they're inherently selfish players. They're very much all very unselfish. It's just sometimes they need a reminder to stop ISOing so much. Cool Cat saying Jakob should start and Gary goes to the bench with Precious. That would make an awesome bench mob. Then Pascal and Fred gets rest. Exactly. Jakob coming to the team bolstered our bench depth because it's displacing people to the bench. possibly even him, it could be him or one of those guys, our bench is going to be way better for the rest of the season. We're going to get way more better production point wise from our bench just because of the numbers. OG comes back from injury. We're going to have 2 starter caliber guys coming off our bench. And Chris is a great bench player already. That's 3 guys for sure. And I mean, seriously, we're getting some good, very good, astute play from people like Thad Young, Wancho. We could throw Coloco back in the mix somehow, some way. There are people on our bench to kind of make a bench at this point. You have a role player like Joe W around all of a sudden, stuff like that. Let's see. Denal saying at G, facts. He who shall not be named has an agenda of getting rid of Fred and Pascal, and everything Scotty does is elite. It's very annoying to see. Listen, I love Scotty. I know Scotty probably way better than most Raptors analysts because like I said, my time with Twitch with him last year. And we talked a lot directly. I talked to Scotty, but I don't treat him as a favorite on this team. I could have easily fallen this hole like Robert Pensair and just been like, as Scotty would put it, a dick rider for Scotty. But I'm not. I treat him just exactly the same as I do Pascal and Fred. I'm critical of him and I want the best for him and I love them all very much, but I'm not thinking a hierarchy in my head. Oh, Scotty's way better than Fred and Pascal, so I'm just to sewer them and really celebrate Scotty. No, I will give them all their just desserts and rewards and accolades and saying good things about them when they get them. But also at the same time, when they're fucking up, if I think Pascal's being too selfish and not passing enough, I will say it. So nobody's above reproach, and nobody is a perfect golden boy either. Because I have criticized Scotty. I just did. I talked about how he no looks and maybe he shouldn't. So there you go. That's a good example right there of the difference. Because nobody's on a hierarchy on my team. I protect and love all of them equally, and I want them all to stay as much as possible. But I don't make the decisions. Masai does, and maybe somebody goes, and that's what happens too. G saying, why say someone is selfish while the others isn't? He's a Scotty fan over being a Raptors fan. His views are slanted how to help Scotty first. If Scotty leaves, he leaves. He said that himself. See, that's okay. This is another whole kind of way fan nation in the NBA is gone. Is a lot of people aren't team fans anymore. They're fans of individuals. Like there's Kobe fans that were just Kobe fans, and that's it. They're not necessarily Laker fans, but they really love Kobe. Some people are LeBron fans, and they followed him from Cleveland to Miami to Cleveland to LA. And they just go with LeBron. I'm not that kind of fan. These are newer kind of fans, and they're a product of the superstar era of like highlights and ESPN and the marketing. If you're a team fan, then you belong in Raptor Freak Nation. But if you're a player fan, you probably don't, because any one of the Raptors are above my allegiance to the team overall. I don't care who you are. If you fuck us over like Vince, I will say fuck you when you leave. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference. You can be a team fan or a player fan. And it sounds like that guy is a player fan. And that's not, listen, I don't like player fans because in some ways it's okay to have your favorite player and stuff. And I do have favorite players, but the team allegiance is the most important thing. Because in some ways, player fans are more likely to switch around teams and have like 5 teams they root for, which is ever convenient of who's winning. And that's usually the case with a player fan is over a team fan. Team fans more anchored to that specific team, and they just root the team no matter who's there, comes in and comes out. And, they have their favorites and they love the players, but they're not like this. And I think this is a really important distinction to figure out for yourself in the fan nation is what kind of fan are you? Are you a fan of the team first, or are you a fan of a player individually first? Because, if he's going to leave because Scotty leaves, so be it. Go ahead. Maybe we won't have to talk about you anymore. But I never want Scotty to leave also. Denal saying, I love Scotty, but to cater everything around him at this point when he's not ready is not right for the team nor for Scotty. Scotty needs to develop without the pressure. Listen, this is the other thing that's a folly in this. Look, I have more faith in certain players on this team staying with the Raptors than Scotty. It's unfortunate. I wish I could say I really think it's a lock that he's going to hang around and be a Raptor for his whole career, but that's not always the case. We've seen both our top lottery picks from the ACC that we got drafted, Chris Bosh and Vince Carter, both left eventually and chose other people in other places over us. Now, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Fred would do that, and I don't think Pascal would either. And I know Chris wouldn't because he did this last summer he picked us. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Scotty's completely ordained to be a Raptor for sure, and it may be folly to build everything around him in certain ways because there is a risk that he may just cut and run on us. So this is what I'm saying, Panzer. I'd much rather build around Pascal, which is what we've been doing, getting Jakob, Christian Siakam on 905. And, in some ways we can invest in Scotty too and make nods towards him. Like we drafted a guy like Caleb Houston or got, certain people that he wants around on the team too. So we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. But just so you know, the bet on Scotty sticking around and being around here may be less than some of the other guys showing allegiance, is what I'm saying. I love Scotty, and I think he will stay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say Scotty's going to leave when he has a chance. But the chances of him leaving are higher than other people. Let's just put it that way. Blackhawk saying, one thing I will say is that getting Jakob back is great. Bringing back Wieskamp is good. However, even if we win games, we will not be where we need to be until the bench runs without starters. I disagree with this because, once again, who's to say who's a bench or a starter on this team if you have 8 premium guys in the lineup? I don't want to start a whole or play a whole bench lineup out there. We really don't need to do this. If you're a really good coach, you know how to coach a rotation where you have starters on the court the whole entire game. You can do this. There's no reason why Nick can't do this, that he can always have at least Pascal, Fred, or Scotty on the court at all given times. There's no reason why I can't do this. There's 3 of them. And they can take turns taking time off. So I disagree with this. I never, ever want to see the bench run all on their own. It's Jason saying, yo, gee, you put me in a 5-minute timeout. No, the mods aren't doing this to Jason. Jason, the reason why we do this is because we have so much activity on the stream. If everybody just typed as much as they want, there's a 5-minute time limit between comments. And it's just to lessen the traffic because I read every single comment. I don't phrase you guys out. I don't edit. I read every single thing you guys say. So the limit how much you guys can say is there's a 5-minute limit between each comment. So if you want to write a lot, write it all in one comment and not really little quick spots, okay? Because then you'll be able to get more of the point. But that's part of the reason why. G's saying, yeah, that's a 5-minute delay. I'm thinking about shortening it and maybe making it like a 2 or 3 minute delay at some point, maybe. Fun guy saying, yeah, Jason, he did. He hates you. Fun guy's funny today. He doesn't want to take you out to dinner. He doesn't even care if he was driving while you're walking in the soaking rain. Trust me. Fun guy, you're hilarious. I love you, man. You're hilarious. I know that we're not totally on the same page today, but it's all good. And he was saying, yeah, Jason, it's not personal. Otherwise, these streams would go on 12 hours. I'm at 3 hours already, and we're half an hour away from the 9:05. I'm going to finish this in the next half hour. I'm not going to be on here before Coloco takes the court in Westchester. Denial saying, agree it. Gee, I missed the Nick Nurse stuff, but I guess he's out tonight. Hope all's well, but I'll be honest, I'm excited to see how the bench is utilized tonight in our rotations. This is a great point, Denial. All right, let's see how the team runs without Nick Nurse today, since he's away for personal reasons that I hope aren't really, really sad because he lost somebody in his life. Shame on people who are coming after Nick Nurse if somebody like one of his parents died today or something. Shame on y'all is what I'll say. This is a good point, Denial. Let's see what one of the other coaches does in the driver's seat with how things are. Let's see if there's a very noticeable difference, or will they run the team in his absence exactly like he would have? And they was like, well, what Nick do? This is what we would do. I'm pretty sure Adrian Griffin will be coaching today, and we're going to have to see how he does in this area. I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't really think about this. Griffin may be the guy in charge of these rotations and minutes today. And we'll have to see if there's any stark difference and if he gets different results from it in different ways on the court too. It might feed the fire of the anti-Nick people, but I don't care. I want to just see this team win, and we can suss it all out and protect Nick later anyway. So yeah, you go, Adrian Griffin, kick some ass, and maybe you do some things today in Nick Nurse's absence that look real good, and he might say, oh shit, Adrian, I see what you did against Detroit on Sunday. I think we might start continuing to do that because he's going to pick what works and continue to do it. Trust me. Fun guy saying, I'm not that petty. Yeah, our mods are really good here. In fact, they're very nice, and I'm glad they don't censor people. Even if they come in here wrong, I want y'all to leave that comment up so we can talk about it. It may be your inclination if somebody comes in real ugly and talks some shit. Maybe they're just being immature and like name calling. That's fine. I kind of want to go off on some people right now just because of how things are in Raptors Nation. I feel like I need to be very vocal. Abandon's here, another new name. I hope you're not abandoned by how you feel about the Raptors. I hope you're in the right place. Let's see. We have the pieces. It's going to be a fun finish this year. We are right now earning our respect. One game at a time, win or lose, there's going to be hurting and fearing. Yeah, it's scary. Have courage, Raptors Nation, and see that we'll be all right. I appreciate you, Abandoned, and I love your name. I love these weird names like Nameless and Forgetful and Abandoned. It's like you guys are like my weird seven dwarfs or something like that. Oh, that's Nameless and that's Forgetful, and now we have Abandoned. Such cool names, and some of them are like Huge Erection, and like the funny names are funny too. They're all great. Greg saying at Blackhawk, Top Brass agrees with you regarding the bench. I also think we need to realize Nick Nurse seems to favor a blended use of role players with starts rather than the bench mob of five we grew to love. I just love this whole idea that the bench mob has grown up and matured, and now there are starters, and that they were that very much the bench mob. Now, one of the things we got to remember about the bench mob back then is they were overpoweringly good. This is why they got a nickname and they got T-shirts, is because our starters were good and they would beat people, but then we put in the bench during the bench mob era, and they'd absolutely destroy people. Like we'd have like a 10-point lead and they'd build it into like a 30-point lead because they came out and they were so much better than the other bench. And a lot of that was the chemistry between Jakob, Pascal, and Fred. That those three guys just have a very special connection, and they really kind of know each other really well, and they enjoy playing together, and the exuberance and all that excitement is hopefully going to be recaptured very soon. And we're going to remember why the bench mob was so much fun and why they deserve to get T-shirts, because they are a very good unit. And if you go back and look at the stats on the court with young Jakob, young Pascal, and young Fred in their first and second year in the league, you may be shocked to see just how good they were as a unit. Now, put in 7 years of development and them being vet heads and high IQ, and they still possibly still have that crazy good synergy and connectiveness and having that kind of effect and plus minus on the court for the team. I'm telling you, it's coming. That I want everybody who hates the trade deadline to go watch old bench mob highlights of Fred and Jakob and Pascal and how they play off each other and realize it's coming. I think that you don't lose that kind of stuff. I think that it just stays. It's like riding a bike. And when you find the right combination of players that have that kind of synergy, if you can revisit it later after they've gotten more accomplished and better at what they do, look out. That's what I'm saying. Y'all are sleeping on us. We're bound to turn this shit around, and maybe seeing it at 3:00 today. I'm really all about this. Mike's saying, big respect, Lex. Nick really has done it all. Even for a couple of years, Nick was the sole owner, director of operations, general manager, and head coach of a real pro team in the British Basketball League. Look at that. In some ways, it did seem like a nod that he, if he's not a coach his whole entire career, he could go into the front office at some point, Nick Nurse. I could see that happening. The other thing is Nick Nurse was a very storied athlete in high school. He was a long jumper and he was very good at football. He played football. He played basketball. He did track. He was an all-around good athlete in his collegiate and high school days as a youngster in Iowa. So, there's a lot on his resume that people don't totally understand about him, that he's been through the hardest shit a basketball coach can go through in the craziest places. And we don't respect that enough as Raptors Nation. Name is saying, Jason, sometimes Lex's passion does not let him stop in a timely manner. He just can't help himself. He'll go on all day if we let him. This is true to a degree. I'm going to go on until these comments are ended. And that's just how I always do it. Fun guy saying, don't do that, Lex. You only got one life. And as much as family ties matter, you're the only Lex that exists in Lex's life. Let the general political combined life on this planet decide faith regarding war. A lot of people have talked me out of that, me going to Ukraine and fighting, and they don't want me to do it. People that really care about me a lot. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I could go do this, and a lot of people would care, but I could do this. And I really did seriously think about doing it because I'm like, what if I fucking accomplish in my life? Well, at least maybe I could go do something that matters. But yeah, a lot of people really don't want me to do it, and I'm listening to them because they really love me. So Jason's saying, I hear that, Nameless. Yeah. Okay. So you understand our 5-minute limit and why it is the way it is. It's really just for time reasons. Blackhawks saying, Greg, Nick Nurse has to let that favoritism go because the league is so deep that starters alone can't win majority of battles with just a few role players. We need to see the future on the bench. I agree with this, Blackhawk. We can't score 120 points with just our starters. They can't score enough. You need bench help. You need bench scoring. You need bench minutes so that these guys have an opportunity to score to add up to the total, because the NBA is trending in an offensive way, and games are going to be like 120 to 130 points every single game. Well, if we're only averaging 100 to 110 points, we're going to lose every single time. And on the download, this is part of the reason why we've lost a lot this season, is that the bench production on other teams has killed us because the starters can't do enough to beat both the starters and the bench of the other team. So I'm completely with Blackhawk on this. And there is some favoritism that Nick does need to let go. I want you to hear us, Nick. I want you to make the changes and be successful so it will shut these people up and they'll stop calling for your head, because I know you can fix this, and you will. You will. I believe you. Cool Cat saying Pascal's 3-point shooting is going to be his latest weapon. As a current franchise player, he's setting example for Scotty's roadmap as the upcoming franchise player, the same way Kyle DeMar taught him. This is exactly right. This is exactly right. They're generations. Kyle DeMar, Fred and Pascal, Precious and Scotty. They're different generations of Raptors coming in through, and they all overlap in different parts and how they contribute to the legacy and the continuing of the culture on the team. We need to instill the culture in Scotty as much as possible that we win, and this is what we're all about. And hopefully that'll happen. Facts that I was saying about Blackhawk. A lot of other teams' bench could start. We need to run our bench, even if it means we lose some games in the process. See, I could go get behind this. I'm totally behind this denial. We need to develop them and play them because we're going to need them. And the more that, like, the season in some ways is not the real season, the postseason is. And the season should be really the time to figure out the roles on your team and who can be valued or capitalized or used in important moments for certain situations. And exploring your bench and totally understanding what you have in the pantry for your bench is an important part of what you do during the season, Nick. And I feel like you don't do this well enough in seasons recently. That in some ways our bench is stifled because you're not giving them a chance. I will totally echo this sentiment of criticism about Nick Nurse because I believe it too. But I still don't. Once again, we say this saying over and over again, it's stupid. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is something that you can fix, and hopefully he'll get it through his thick skull. I've likened this to being like Casey when he was in the playoffs and he wouldn't adjust fast enough, and that's why we fired him. Nick, if you don't start developing our players better, this may be the reason why you get fired. Much like Casey got fired before because he couldn't do certain things in the playoffs. Well, we find your limitations. And if your limitations are with developing and balancing the bench in a way that we get more better stuff out of them, then yeah, we may need to make a move. I've said this a couple times this season. If Masai decides that the hangup is development's not happening correctly for the bench because of Nick Nurse, he will fire him. And that's trusting in Masai. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Fun guy saying salt and pepper playing off their skin tones. Laugh my ass. Yo, Lex, killing me without even trying. I can't. I know. I mean, it's just a cheap nickname. It just is. You could do it all kinds of other different personality aspects about them than just like, oh, that's a white guy and that's a black guy. Salt and pepper. That's lazy. That's lazy. That's lazy. Cool Cat saying, I support you, Lex, and your support of Ukraine from Putin aggression. Right on. Cool Cat. I went to a really cool concert last night with Adriana in support of Ukraine at the Opera House. And there were Estonian and Ukrainian and Polish bands playing traditional music from Eastern Europe. It was a jam, man. Some of them can really play. And there was one chick playing the drums in this Estonian band. And she was just, damn, she could play for Slayer. She had those kind of chops on the drums, like, and she's like, I was like so impressed with her. And they had a bagpipe player in the middle of this band too. It was the weirdest band. The lead singer had a trombone, and in the middle of the song, he'd all of a sudden go, and then this dude's in the corner with the Jews harp, and then he's switching to the bagpipes, and he's playing all these crazy instruments, and then there's this really crazy chick behind the drums, just like a whirlwind like Animal from the Muppets. Just like, I was like, holy shit, she could play for Slayer. Like if Slayer needs a new drummer, this woman who's in this Estonian folk band, she could play for Slayer because she's got those chops. And she wasn't like, she was nerdy looking. She had glasses on. She was all like, and she came out there and she destroyed the drum set. I was like, holy crap. was a great event, a concert to raise funds and to support the people of Ukraine. And we were there. And Adriana is Ukrainian, and her family, of course, has been affected by this war. And her father's very angry about this war, obviously, because they're a very proud Ukrainian family. And this hurts to see what's happening in their family, in their homeland. So, yeah, as an Estonian, we show our support for Ukraine also. So I appreciate that, Cool Cat, coming from you also. Mike saying big facts, Blackhawk. Developing value with the right type of guys in the plan. Use picks to select guys you have time and build value into the players. So much even we can't keep all the value we make. I like this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We make so much value. Well, we get to cherry pick among the value that we build on our garden of value, and some of it won't fit, and we can just pick the very best fit and the things that we want for going forward. It's much better to have those kind of options in house and controlling it yourself. Nameless is saying Lex is the best in the game, and this is the best place to consume your content. And like Coach Pop said about Big Yak, attack. That's not me hyping up or exaggerating. It's just a fact. I appreciate that, Nameless. I do, really. I'm on today. I'm not going to lie. I've been on recently. I really know my streams have been entertaining because I feel real energetic and passionate right now. And I know when I'm really up, these can be very fun. In fact, on that note, let's do the real Mascot matchup before we get to 1 o'clock. Last time we saw the Mascot, he's in the rocket car and he's heading down the road. And he's like looking forward to the future. He feels like the future is real bright. So he turns the radio on and it's a jazz channel. And he's listening to the jazz channel. He's riding down the road in the rocket car going towards his future. And the jazz, you know what? Listen, there's different kinds of jazz in this world. There's acid jazz. There's traditional jazz. There's crazy ass jazz, experimental jazz. This was an acid jazz channel, and it was a little bit all over the place and kind of like fucked up. And like the rappers listening to it, and it's like, this don't sound right. This is a fucked up jazz channel. I want to listen to Miles Davis. I want to listen to John Coltrane. I want to listen to real jazz, the good shit, and not this like bebop. This isn't even fucking jazz. What the fuck is this? So he changed the channel. Well, he gets to a light. He's at a light all of a sudden, and there's a car next to him in the other lane. It's a hot rod. He's got a rocket car, and this car has some supercharged pistons in the engine and right up front. And he's like kind of looking over that guy. He's like, look at what your ride's looking like over there. I got a rocket car that I stole from a guy, and you've got this really cool car with a big engine and pistons hanging out of it. I think I want to drag race you down this next stretch of the highway. Let's see what happens next time in the real Mascot matchup. Let's see what happens when the light turns green. Woo! Let's see who gets down that road quicker. All right, let's see next time. Real Mascot matchup on the Raptor Free channel. That's right. There you go. All right, let's see. Fun guy saying, to me, Wieskamp is actually a better shooter to me than Matt Thomas from his sample so far. Even better is he knows it and shoots with confidence and no hesitation. Matt was soft, to be honest. I can't disagree with any of this, fun guy. I think you're exactly right. The little bit I've seen of Joe Wieskamp in 905 and on the Raptors, he was a certified bucket, just like Gary Trent. He made a couple of threes on the 905 in that game he played down there that were very contested. This is the thing. Matt Thomas had to be wide open when he shot, and he's shorter than Joe too. And you're right. In some ways, Joe does not worry about confidence like Matt Thomas did. In some ways, it seemed like Matt Thomas was a little scared and a little worried, and maybe he fucked up. Well, Joe's not like that. Joe seems like he comes in like with this utter confidence. When he came into the draft, the year he was drafted in the NBA, he told everybody he was the best shooter in the draft, and he still believes that. So he's this kind of cocky dude about his shooting, but the thing about it is he very much can back it up. So the thing about Joe is like they would come at him in the 905 and he'd have a dude right in his face and he'd still nail the shot. So he can shoot with people contesting him also. So I'm very excited to see this more too. And I think we obviously need better 3-point shooting this year. And he is a step in the right direction by keeping him for the rest of the year. And I will take that comparison. Yes, he's a much better player than Matt Thomas was, because he's more well-rounded too. You can get more out of him on the defensive end and rebounding than Matt Thomas. And I also do agree. He's a much more confident shooter. Isaac saying, wow, W to number 19 in the 19th hour of this year's stream. There you go, Isaac Ham. I love it. Number 19, Mr. Jakob Pertl. Sherman Hamilton was saying, I wonder why Jakob's wearing number 19. He said, I think I know why, but I'm not going to say. And then Jakob also said in his press conference, I'm wearing 19 for a very specific reason, but I don't want to tell you guys. Well, come on. We can Brian Windhurst this one. He got traded just before we won the NBA championship in the year of 2019. That 19 symbolizes the championship he missed. And in ways, he may be wearing the 19 for his teammates also. To see, look at that 19, Pascal and Fred. You remember that year? That was fun, wasn't it? Let's go do it again. And maybe Jakob's like, I want a 19, like 19 happened for me. I want that hardware on my ring. And that may be part of it, is that like he's reminding everybody what we're working towards by wearing the number 19, another championship. And that's one that he missed because he got traded with DeMar. And he wants to get one just like his buddies, Pascal and Fred. Yeah, I think that is a big reason why he's number 19 right now, is he wants to remind everybody what we're doing. Blackhawks saying it has been better lately. Going 9 to 10 deep gives us better reps on the bench. Players look better over time, so value raises. We shouldn't have tight 7 to 8 man rotations in the first half of the season. So much of this is so good. In fact, I didn't agree with it, but a lot of it was the injuries and the reasons why he did it. But yeah, I agree with everything Blackhawk's saying here. And hopefully this trend of him playing deeper into the bench, more and more minutes, will continue to happen. Racemo is saying, I grew up in New York City in the late 80s and early 90s, rooting for the Knicks. Fell in love with the Raptors again because of Kyle. I never thought we would actually win in 2019. Now I trust in Masai. This is a former Knicks fan from the 90s, Edmund. And, that was such a weird time. They were very much a competitive team with Pat Riley as their coach, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Anthony Mason, so many different interesting old Knicks. In the period of time they're scrapping with Miami Heat and different teams in the Eastern Conference, they never won a championship. They had a really good core. They had all these kind of different things. And this is something that, man, Pat Ewing wanted a championship bad. But Michael Jordan was always in the way, and different things happened to the Knicks, and it was really hard in that market. In fact, that was maybe one of the most successful periods in the New York Knicks history, even with the championships in the 70s, was the Patrick Ewing 90s. And, it's sad, and it's a different time, and that was a trying time, but at least it was competitive and fun to a degree also to be a Knicks fan at that time, unlike it is in the recent decades. But yeah, listen, I love that you're in the Raptors fan nation, Edmund. I know maybe part of it is because you're in Toronto and because of Kyle. But yeah, what's not to trust in Masai? He's done everything he said he would in the 10 years he's been here. Fun guy saying, I'm not a content creator, but I would smoke you, Lex. Drop you 50 piece on you and probably any content creator. I'm a shooter too, straight sniper, since the rhythm and handles are in my you're okay. All right, listen. Fun guy, I love to play with you. I don't know if I want to play against you because I do know your stature is big. You may be a bigger guy than me. And I know you have more weight than me. I know that for sure because you said you're 300 pounds. So yeah, I mean that'd be fun. It'd be fun to play anyway. But I don't know. You probably might. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know how it would match up with you and I. It could be very fun. But who knows? Maybe we should get a team together and start practicing just for fun. Have a Raptor Freak team that we just play. Maybe we'll go play the Raptors Republic people or the Comedy Records team or something like that. Raptor Freak team and come in there and mess them up. We'll have Fun Guy at center because that dude will fuck up anybody who comes in the paint. I'm telling you right now, I'm a bet Fun Guy's a Charles Oakley when he plays. Somebody comes near our rim, he's going to protect it. Yeah, he will. Denal saying same at Racema. Born and raised in Queens, only moved to Canada 12 years ago. Never watched B-ball back home, but Kyle and that 19 run got me hooked on the Raps. There you go, Denal. I love the New York connection with Toronto, with like people like Chev and you guys. And in some ways, people that come from New York really do know basketball on a whole other level than most people. Basketball is such an important sport in that city, and that city is so rich with basketball smarts that what you guys are getting upticks as far as like me respecting y'all's IQ because of your background of being from New York. And you know what? You're even smarter because you're in Toronto Nation now and you're out of New York. It's like these are really smart New Yorkers because they're not even there anymore. Jay Conn is saying law of attraction is real. Stay thirsty, my friends. Just doubling down on what I'm saying. You guys want negativity in your life? Go ahead and be negative. You'll attract more. You want more positivity? Attract that positivity. Be positive. Yeah, Abandon saying time to grow 100%. We're not abandoning. Thank you for coming to see us. And I hope you'll be coming back more and more. And I'll see your name every day, 9:30. We are here talking. Let's keep going. I'm going to get to the end of this. I promise. I do need to finish up though. Blackhawks saying at Mike, that gets us back to Raptors basketball. People think our defense is our calling card, but it's our development that is our true calling card. Well, defense is an aspect that we build with that development for sure. And it is an absolute important pillar of what we're trying to do here. But the way that league's changing offensively, I think that we're going to really have to start exploring getting better offensively in a lot of different areas. That this may be the work that's in front of Bobby and Masai going forward is how do we improve our field goal percentage, our outside shooting, our 3 points, and our scoring output. And I think that they are going to focus on this even more. Somebody said recently, I forget which one of you guys, that maybe one of the criteria for getting new players, instead of it being 6'9" and versatile and being able to do everything, is how good are you offensively and how will you add to our offensive output? If you can be a 6'9" guy that's amazing and fits into that position list still, that's great if we can have it all together. But they may very much value you got to be a good scorer and shooter because we need that so desperately right now because the league's getting more offensive. So I'm into that. Linsmore is across from Greenwood Station on the Danforth. Lived in the area like 8 to 10 years ago. It was on its last legs. I'm not sure it's still there. I don't get up to Greenwood and Danforth very often. But yeah, a lot of those bars in that area of Danforth are not good to be hanging out at. That's the area of town where you could get shot in the sidewalk or get, stabbed or something. So I don't go up there. I don't go up on Danforth anywhere between Greenwood and going out to Victoria Park. That whole stretch is kind of sketchy. So if we're going to do something, I'd much rather do it either in Greektown or on Girard or Queen, as far as like streets around here. Let's see. Fun guy saying, but like Max said from my favorite show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you try to help people and you wind up getting screwed. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. You want to do things that are nice for people. One of the things that's happening recently is everybody thinks this move was for Pascal to get Jakob back. And Pascal want to make this very clear in his interview that no, this isn't a move to help make me happy. This is a move because it's smart basketball wise. It just so happens that what byproduct is he's my friend and this works. But don't think this is nepotism or like because it's best friends reuniting. This is a smart basketball move that makes sense. And Pascal even said, I thought he was going to have Jakob stay at his house, but he said, no, he's not staying at my house. He can take care of himself, but he does know if he needs anything, I'm there for him. So he's not staying at Pascal's house with him. He said that and made that very clear. He's okay. He can take care of himself. He's a grown up. So yeah, I like that, but he is there for him if he needs him. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, yes, I prefer Jackson Skills. Yak and Skills. I would prefer Scotty to be the number 2 so that he can transition to number 1 like Pascal developed. OG number 3. Use our other designated 3-point shooters in the Eagles as release valves. Yeah, Gary and Fred. Perfect. I really like what Cool Cat just painted right there. I can get behind all of it. MSJ saying Greenwood and Danforth. Yeah, Linsmore location. I don't know if it's still there. There used to be a Scotiabank there, but it's gone. Then Summer's going to check it out. I like that. Logical saying Blackhawk, big facts. And building value and retaining the best parts and parts that grow to big or don't fit become assets, either final fit pieces or a pick in a special draft where they see a bunch. Well, you do things like what you did with Norman and Kyle. If that it all doesn't fit, well, you swing around and make a deal, and boom, you have a Precious and you have a Gary Trent Jr. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the contract schedules of players in their career, you get to a point where it's just going to be not fitting in your salary cap situation. So you switch a guy out that's to get a payday like Norman Powell, and you bring in a guy that's younger like Gary, and you have him on the schedule and the escalator of pay that's lower. And that's what I'm saying. We may not keep Gary Trent this summer because we're doing a trade in, much like what we did with Norman and him. That we're getting a player that we can pay less, but he'll play the same kind of role for us and won't be that much of a drop off, is what I'm saying. That kind of thing. All right. Cowboy saying, everyone hit that like button. Let's go. Raptor Freaks, keep your head up. And I'm there for you on the court if you need me. Oh, yeah. I know Bradley's got some good height. He's about the same height as me. And, we might be Twin Towers out there. I think this would be a lot of fun. Maybe this is an off-season thing we do during the summer when there's not as much going on. Basketball is nice out. Maybe we go meet at Ontario Place and start having practices down by the lake on the court down in the middle of Ontario Place. That's such a fun place to play. Stevie Roots and I like to shoot around down there. in the summer. So maybe we'll start doing this too. I'm all about having activities around this channel where we meet and do stuff like the meet and greet last year on my birthday and going to games and stuff. So watching games, playing basketball, any of this stuff is wide open for me. I'm all about it. Fun guy saying but like those years of Louis Scola, Patrick Patterson, Biombo, Corey Joseph were fun to watch. Hard to say for this team right now. That's another aspect. They look really stagnant and been really boring. Oh my gosh, fun guy. Well, open your eyes up real wide, just like Clockwork Orange, and they made that man watch all that violence, that ultra violence. Get those toothpicks and get your eyes wide open for 3 o'clock. I don't understand how did you watch the game on Friday? You didn't have fun for the first 3 quarters. Didn't you feel and reinvigorated by Jakob's presence and the prospect of what we could see unfolding in front of us? I was energized. I was on cloud nine. Enjoyed the hell out of that game on Friday night until the last 5 minutes. So I don't get this, man. I don't see why you're saying we're stagnating or boring to watch. In fact, we may have just cranked it to a new level of watching entertainment with Jakob showing up. And you might be very entertained today at 3 o'clock. Sometimes the Super Bowl is boring. It's like not a good game. It's like you play all year and the Super Bowl is very one-sided, or it's just not exciting in any kind of way. It could be that our Raptors game against the Pistons today may be more exciting than the Super Bowl. I may be willing to say that. Abandoned saying Deron Holmes, the second out of Dayton, OG 2.0. You're saying there's a guy like OG coming up out of Dayton? Interesting. I'll be remembering that name, Deron Holmes. Greg saying at Blackhawk, dude, I agree. Nick Nurse needs to use depth, which we have. I'd argue that one reason we won in 2019 was the Warriors spent all their money on Durant and they had less experienced depth as a result that year. That's a great point, Greg, because think about it. Their depth, a lack of depth really hurt them in the finals when guys got hurt. Nobody stepped up and they didn't have the same quality. This is so true. This is part of why building a championship team needs this kind of depth. And you guys are exactly right with your criticisms of Nick and how we're going to need to get this right if we really want a serious run at getting the championship. And I agree with all this. Nameless saying the proximity between Lex and Pensera is like the distance between Earth and Pluto. We can we can all guess which one is the two lives here on Earth. Thank you, Nameless, and I appreciate you. You're a real one. And like I said, listen, we got Tom Duke on the West Coast. He's not here today. I'm worried about him. I'm sure he's sleeping in. It's Sunday. But there's really good Raptor freaks everywhere, and I appreciate all you guys. You guys are awesome. In fact, I wonder about days when I'm going to run into you and meet you for the first time in person and how that might be, even if we don't see each other for years. Like I could meet one of y'all years from now finally. I'm like, oh, this is Cool Cat. Cool Cat, so good to see you. Oh my gosh, we've been talking for so long, and now here you are. Stuff like that. It's really fun. We did that last year, and I got to meet Sue and David and Peter Saborin and Bradley and Raymond Jacob and Evelyn and everybody that came to the meet and greet. That was so much fun seeing the names, the faces with the names. And since you have no name, I need to see the face. Danelle saying we can't write people off who are fans from 2019. You've got garbage fans even from day one. Some people just have bad takes. Yeah, I agree with that. And there are very good fans that have come here very recently. I want to make this distinction. It's about making opinions when you may not have the context or the general knowledge base because you just don't have the time. And that's where it is. It's like some people think they know, they figured it all out just because they saw the champion Raptors. Well, they didn't see that what took to get to that point, the build up to it. They just came in and saw the spoils. And that's why they're basing some of their opinions on. Now, fans that are recent and they just know, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I love this team and I'm buying it. Yeah, they're great fans. But I'm saying I will write off some of the fans that think they're know-it-alls and they just don't have the basis of knowledge. And that's the difference. That's the difference I'll make. I love all the fans of the Raptors if they are real fans and they're actually truly rooting for the team in a positive way. But if you're not and you're a problem, then I don't like you. I think that you're part of the problem in the fan nation then. Monique saying W Stream Lex, keep at it as always. Despite the outcomes, been too busy with the season and media shenanigans. Can't say much about it, but I'm here supporting you. Let's go Raps. She's got something coming up, y'all. I can tell. Monique starts saying this stuff. She's got things under wraps. She's working with the media. We're going to see Monique Lawrence somewhere very soon, whether it's a Google Pixel ad or somewhere on the Raptors official YouTube account doing something with them as a community champion or something. Monique's got something coming up. I can tell she's cooking. She's cooking on something. We're going to find out. Canadian saying true nameless. Mo, super fan. Have a great day, Lex and Raptor Freaks. You go, Bradley.
Race Mode saying, laugh out loud. My Bluetooth hooked up to my car audio this morning when Lex went on a full rant. My 9-year-old Ronan was just full on laughing out loud. Barrage of curse words. I'm not a bad dad. Earbuds. In some ways, listen, they're going to find all this stuff out anyway. In some ways, it's good to be open and honest with your kids as much as possible as at young age. On some subjects, you probably should not talk to them very young. But the more honest you are with your kids, the better you are preparing them for the world. The more we shelter them from the world, sometimes it's a real detriment to them. So yeah, I appreciate that. I'm sorry if I was cussing too much for your kids, but at least they're getting some entertainment. Scott B saying, guys, seriously, look at the entire roster, how they act, the way they answer all the media's stupid questions. This team has developed more than any other team, and most of them are together. In some ways, part of the development this year is staying together in times of trouble. There's going to be times where there's controversy and forces trying to pull them apart or turn on each other. And they're showing their gumption of not doing this. Seriously, there's no signs that this team has turned on each other. They very much said this over and over again. We're staying together. We're staying together. And that must be so fucking hard with all the forces out there trying to pull them apart. In some ways, that's why I look at this season as very successful, even though our record is bad. That we're getting tested inside, culture-wise, by all the adversity, and we're staying steadfast, just like we would in Tampa being relocated. In some ways, it's a different adversity than Tampa, but in some ways, it's very similar. There's bad stuff happening, and we're riding it out in a successful way and minimizing the damage that could potentially have been happening right now. With all this losing this year, we could have misstepped and made all kinds of fuck ups if we had reacted too quickly, or we could have had problems more inside the team by the players not getting along anymore. And we all seem like we have navigated this in a very effective, safe way, and these problems aren't happening. To me, that's a success. Because if you can stay together through this adversity, well, they can have adversity later, and we've tested it, and we know they'll stay together still. So that's part of it right there, too, is what I'll say. Nameless saying, can we do the Raptor Freak channel's first ever chat room poll, whether or not we can reform Pensera and his sadistic cult? Well, some of it is, do they want to? Like, the motives of Pensera are very clear, and I don't think that his motives will make this happen. It is what it is, and it is, so be it. It is what it is. We are going to start doing polls on this channel soon. Tom Duke has figured out how to do it, and maybe we'll have a daily poll on this live stream soon where you guys can vote on it, and we'll talk about it on the stream. And it'll be like a daily question, something important to talk about, a subject in the Raptors world. It'll be fun. Janelle saying, Jimmy Pope saying, God, the one game narrative that's going to come if we win the game against the mighty Pistons with Nick being gone. One game. Yeah, we can already write it, Jimmy. We can write it. Nick's not there. We win. Then boom, they have more for their fodder, but we still just want to win. It doesn't matter. But yeah, we can already hear what they're going to say before this game's even started. We know what their argument's going to be if we beat the Pistons today. They're going to say fire Nick and put Adrian Griffin as the head coach, or Earl Watson. They're going to echo this stupid ass David Thorpe. Let's see. Denal saying facts. Yeah, still good to see how well guys play together. Not so much the result. You can see ball movement, unselfishness, cutting, boxing out, playing for each other, etc. It just sucks it's the Pistons. Well, hopefully we'll beat the Pistons. I'm over this whole Pistons have our number bullshit. That may have been for a couple years recently, but it's not this year. We beat them the only time we played them so far this year. And I fully expect them to beat them today, and we will beat them on the next Sunday. We play them again after the All-Star break. So I'm not expecting us to lose today. I think that this whole thing with Casey and the Casey's revenge is over. It's dead and done. Casey loves us. We love Casey. He's a part of our history, and we're fine now. He's got enough get back, I think. And the players aren't as much up to help him get back against us as they were when it was fresh. So I think there's a lot of factors with the whole Detroit and Toronto phenomenon since we fired Casey. They're kind of not as important or very much involved in this anymore. So that's part of it. I don't look at Detroit being the Detroit that we looked at them like maybe a year or two ago, and them being a pain in the ass because they always beat us. It's not like that anymore. Plus, they have their franchise player out this whole season, and they're very much in the victor sweepstakes because they probably want to lose today. They probably very much want to lose today. Nameless is saying, Raptor Freak supporters here are like a fellowship. Pensera is more like a sacrificial what? Is more like sacrificial witchcraft. Well, we have witchcraft and sacrificial stuff here too. Sorcery with, out there with Forgetful. He's doing that on the farm. We're all about that. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we've called ourselves a cult, and I don't mind us being kind of like a cult, but it's kind of funny too. It's not serious. It's not like we're a scary cult or anything, but in some ways, our behavior is cultish. And if anything, like it's a cult for positivity. It's like I said, we'll get the hoods, we'll get the glowing orb, we'll all stand around the orb and start chanting, "Trust in Masai." Fuck Brooklyn. I don't shoot to miss. We just say all the sayings of the tenements of the Raptor Freak cult. And it's very loosely funny. And also, part of it is we want to put it on blast because we want to show how cults are formed. Because it's a very good example of the cult of 45, the idiots that followed Trump. Now, people may come in and look at us and say we're delusional as positive Raptor fans and say you're fucking crazy. Well, I'm a good example of how people are fucking crazy in other areas with their cultist shit and stuff. At least we have a very good purpose, a very meaningful, positive purpose, instead of a detrimental or negative or awful purpose like the cult of 45 of Trump. So that's what I'm saying. In some ways, I want to be an example of other things that happen in society with what we do as a cult to show that this behavior and how it works with other things too. It's like it's very, very much an example. It can be. Let's see. Denal saying Pensair followers feel like a cult. Some things I can agree with, but he's got people foaming at the mouth about Fred and Pascal. Now, Masai and Bobby, he's condescending too, if you disagree. That's the one thing. I don't want to be insulting. I know that a lot of times I'm not going to agree with everybody, obviously. But even like with Fun Guy and I, we don't agree on Ukraine. And that's a very heated subject. And we're still able to be respectful and continue. I'm not going to put him down for that. I mean, I don't agree with it at all. I was very clear about my stance on it. But I also allow the freedom of everybody else to have their own opinions in the way they want to believe and perceive. I'm not trying to win people over in that kind of way. I'm trying to win it over with logic and facts and people like Mike, but I'm not trying to like win it over by like gravitating to your fears or that I care or my ego. If I don't win you over, so be it. I didn't. That's all right. But if I am able to influence in a way that's positive to help people or the Raptors, I'll do that. And that's the difference. Sometimes that shows that the ego is very much involved. That if he cannot do it without being condescending or respectful in disagreement, then yeah, it's all about him. It's all about him, and that's a problem. Cowboy saying, "Preach on, Lex and Nameless. Only positive vibes over here. Let's go Raptors and Raptor Freaks. Let's go Tristan Phipps. Let's go watch the 905 game that started 10 minutes ago." Fun Guy saying, "Geez, Lex, you're still far off. You might be done as soon as the game starts. I'm off to roll a fat one and get some drinks for the game. I swear to God, if we lose this today, the fan base will truly lose it. They've already lost it. Let's just stick on this sailing ship with them, and we'll stay true and ride or die. Other people can jump off and get crazy or get the toy guns and start shooting their heads off. Whatever. They can do that. We're not like that." And respect to Tristan showing up to Fun Guy. Cowboy saying, "We won't lose, Fun Guy." Tom Duke is here. I just ain't feeling good. Of course I'm here. You rule, freaks. Let's go, Raptors. All right, Tom Duke is here. I'm glad you're okay. I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well, Tom. I hope you feel better. Yeah, and I see you didn't bring the food for the referees, but that's all right. Mike's saying Lakers want Danny Green back after what they did. Wow. Crazy. All right, I'm going to kind of go quick through these. Cool Cat saying, "I have a sinking feeling Scotty might want to join the Lakers at some point in his career. His mom is from California originally, and I can see him moving his mom back to California. His favorite player is Kobe Bryant. There's allusions to him looking like Magic Johnson. There's all kinds of stuff like this. That's why we need to make a winning environment, and we need to throw him the money. Those two things will keep him here. We're winning, and it's worth his time because we're winning, and we pay him as much as he can make. He will stay. But otherwise, we may be in trouble of him getting lured. But we're talking about this way too soon. Fun Guy saying, "So final thoughts. We're supposed to go 15-10 to get to 500 to end the season. Yikes, that's barely a play-in team. Just want to see winning ball and maybe surprise play-in. What choice do we have now?" Yeah, we're in to win. And this is what we can do. And honestly, we can still make noise in the playoffs. Once again, I put this forth. If we get to the second round of the playoffs this year, will people shut up and consider this year a success because we built off of last year? After all, in the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. We get the second round. This is going to shut a whole lot of stuff about our whole regular season and what's going on with this team and whether they're getting better or not. We get the second round, that'll happen. Blackhawk saying, "We beat the Pistons the last time we played them, so it's no different if we beat them today." Exactly. They're not the same team. They're not as good as they were last year. They're hurt and they are tanking. Tom's saying been snoozing. I'm not sure if it was cooked up already, but here's the food. He's got a empty plate. Oh, there's the steak there. It's all right, Tom. I don't even remember what they wanted anymore. Feel better. We hope you feel better. All right, W Stream. Thank you, Mike. All right, let me just go over real quick. There is a game today against the Pistons. The Pistons have some injuries. There will be no Nerlens Noel. James Wiseman will not be showing up in time. There's no Marvin Bagley and there's no Cade Cunningham. Meanwhile, on our side, there's no OG and no Otto. We knew that. Our referees today, and currently in the game played right now, Isaac Barnett is the crew chief for the 905 versus Westchester that's presently on TV right now. You can watch it right now. Caitlin Bunger is the referee, and Nate Anderson is the umpire. Our three referees for the Raptors game at 3 with Detroit is Jason Goebel, Nick Buchert, and Nate Green. They overall do favor the Raptors. Unlike the crew on Friday night for the Jazz game, they very much did favor the Jazz statistically, and we saw a ref hit job. So hopefully that won't happen today. All right, I'm going to wrap it up real quick right now. Thank you for joining me today. Fuck you, David Thorpe. Fuck you, Robert Pensair. Fuck you, all you haters and the real ones. You ride or die with us. We are positive Raptor fans here that love this team. We want to win championships, and anybody who's making extra noise, it makes it harder for us to do that. You just so fuck off right now. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Let's get these W's today. 2 W's for both Raptors teams this afternoon before the Super Bowl even starts. Y'all have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And let's go Raptors.